Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
And I'm Mike Rice.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and today we are continuing to do our top favorite games of all time. Well, 50. And today's list is 30 through 21.
Yes.
The best of the 50.
Those are numbers.
I'd say like average.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
but yeah,
technically, there's two more lists after this that are even better, though.
Well,
Oh.
this is the best one so far, though.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Also true.
That's what I
Yeah.
meant,
Yeah.
I guess.
Of my 21 through 50, these are probably the best of those.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Real quick, if you've watched our other episode, you'll know we all use Pub Meeple basically to rank our games. And I believe we all just sort of, because it gives you that this or that, we picked. You just assume when you see these two games, I have the ideal player count and, no time
Time
constraint.
is not a factor.
And that's the game I picked, right?
Yep.
And is anybody have anything they want to add about their lists? Otherwise, we can just hop right in.
Well, two things. First of all, at the end of this video will be a link to the previous video if you hadn't seen it
Yeah.
yet. So you can go to that link now
Back
if you
in
hadn't seen the
time.
previous episode. And once it's out, there will also be a link to the next episode so that you can get there. The other thing is, I actually kind of have a theme for this 10. I know that's something that Mike likes. Mikey likey.
Mikey, like,
Let's not get carried away.
that's right.
No, but honestly, it's a weird theme. But there are quite a few games in this 10 that I have barely played, but that I just like so much they've made it this high.
Nice.
Like, there's quite a few
I would say-
games here that I've played like less than 5 times.
Yeah, same. I have a lot of new to me this year in this top 10.
Right.
Yeah, a large percentage of them are new to me this year.
Ooh. Okay.
Cool.
I've got one new to me, and I've got several that I've only played a few times. Actually, that's true.
I feel like this is the 10 that those games tend to slide into. When you're creating like a big list, the games that you've only played like 2, 3, 4 times, like they can't be in your top 10. You haven't played them enough to really know that. 11 through, maybe.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
this is like where it's like you're comfortable putting those.
Yeah, that's
it tends
true.
to be, So
Totally what happened.
I also have a heavy mix of stuff I have played a lot in this mix.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of barely played and tons of plays.
Yeah. My number 30 has been played a ton.
Ooh.
Yeah.
2,000 times.
Literally.
Well, let's get to it.
All right.
Yeah, I've got 5 new.
New to you on this one?
Not what- 5 new on this list. 5 that weren't on my 50 last week.
Okay,
last year.
Yeah, or last week.
Or last week.
Yeah.
Also true.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
All right, so number 30. Descent, A Journey into Darkness.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have played this
Awesome.
game. We played it again last night for another 3.5 hours. I am over 100 hours in gameplay into this game between Act 1 and Act 2. I'm kind of lumping them together because it's one big full campaign. But yeah, like ridiculous amounts of setup going on in this game though. So it's app driven. You're playing through this like story with these like you have 6 characters technically, but you choose up to 4 at a time to play through each mission. You're getting experience points. You can have new cards. You're finding new weapons and items and gear. You're getting recipes to upgrade your new items and whatnot, and then the terrain is... So I've made this point before where Gloomhaven, you've got a million friggin' tiles, and you're digging through the one tile to find the one V that's slightly different than the other V, and a lot of the maps still kind of feel repetitive. This thing has much fewer tiles, but the maps you do are like 3, 4, 5 stories high. They're going like none of them look the same, and like you can spend so much time just trying to explore all this territory and all the things that are interactable and whatnot, and there's just so much content in this game that it's a ton of fun. And like we said, we've put so much time and effort into this game, but we love it. We'll be playing it so much. We're looking forward to playing it again. We got through 3.5 hours of the game last night. We thought about playing another mission, even though it was like already like midnight. We were like, well, we could push to 4 maybe, but you never know when you're gonna get into like a 6 hour, because some of them are 6.5 hours. But the game does make it easy to save it. So if you're playing through a long mission, you can just hit save and exit, take a picture of like what you have for your character and like where they're at, and then you can come back later on. The app already has everything. You just, okay, there's all these pieces here. That's where all they go. And then you look at your picture that you took where all your people are at as far as like what side or how much strain you've got in your character and everything. But man, this game, tons of content.
The game is brilliant. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it.
It didn't even make your top 50 last year.
It
so
didn't.
you've obviously played it a lot more
was
recently.
pretty
A lot
new.
more. It was pretty new. Yeah, we were kind of just starting to get into it, but since last year, like I said, my Magic buddies and I, that's like the other thing we do. We'll like play that, and then we'll play a game or two of Magic, and like we've been playing the bejesus.
When you said my Magic buddies and I thought maybe you ate like some
mushrooms?
psychedelic stuff. And you're like, I sit with all my friends.
that's right. We're going
That's the first kind of magic you thought of, Tim?
That is
Yeah.
the first kind of magic I thought of. I thought of that old Chappelle Show sketch where he's like, I pull off the cap of the marker and smell them.
Yeah,
All my
that's
friends from TV.
All my friends. It was terrible.
Don't do drugs,
Don't
kids.
do drugs, kids.
I'm gonna say some blasphemy.
Okay.
But this is I like the game. No negative to it. It's a very good game. But like the play time, the setup time, the teardown time. This is one of those games I would just rather play as a video game. Like
I hear you because Gloomhaven kind of did that. Like I would much
Right.
rather play it digitally and whatnot. And like sometimes we're playing and we're getting tired, and it's like, okay, you go to this site token, you open up, okay, pull out these 4 tiles, 6 tall pillars, like a chest, another book. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, fine, and it can become a lot. But man, it is very rewarding.
and I
There's
get
a
that people
lot
can
you're doing.
argue, well, it is a video game. It's an app-driven game. All right, so
Sure.
you sure? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Kind of. It's just it's just one of those things. Any game that has a lot of setup and teardown. Oh my goodness, when you play the digital version, it is so nice.
It is.
does spoil you.
It,
Yeah.
it does spoil. But on the upside, at least the setup is not all at once.
Correct.
You're doing
Yeah,
it bit
that's
by
true.
bit as you're exploring and doing things in the app. It's okay, now pull these tiles out. Okay, now add these tiles on. So it is just like a little bit at a time. You're not like spending the first hour setting everything up.
And then covering parts of it so it's secret for the other
No,
players.
but sometimes you do have having okay, this has to shift this way,
Right.
so we can make room on the table to go that way a little bit more.
Yeah,
and
you
that-
get the
All right, everybody lifts and slide. You're moving it. Stop moving it that way. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, very fun game. Though.
Yeah.
It's cool that you got the planchette expansion for that, though. So. Anyways, my number 30 plummeted from last year's list.
Ooh.
It is DC, the deck building game. I've got them all lumped together. It was my 11 last year. I've got them all lumped together, even though there's probably, if I were to rate them differently, some that I would rate
Higher
higher
than others, sure.
than others. But as a
fair.
collective,
I feel like you could just do your own separate top 10 of that, honestly.
I
but-
almost could.
I think there's
I'll
6 or 7 versions of it. Top 5.
yeah,
there you go.
There's at least there's plenty.
Yeah, top 5 deck builders. It's 5 different versions of DC.
There's plenty. But this was one of the first games that I got into when I got into the hobby. It appealed to me immediately, just because of the comic book theme, but then also being a Magic player, right?
Yeah.
Playing Magic with my Magic friends. We would, but like deck building, this is awesome, except it's all spontaneous. It's all right here. So to me, it kind of leveled the playing field immediately because I just had to be better at choosing what cards to buy when, and then the order in which I play them, instead of needing to go home, construct a deck, bring it, and then be able to invest more money. And that's not a dig on Magic players. Everybody knows that's what the hobby is, and even really talented players can build decks with limited resources. I mean, that's the point of the drafts, right?
Right.
But anyways, the foundation of this game, like with the deck building, is so straightforward. It's very basic by today's standards. The new versions keep adding in little things. Some are better than others, but for me, it's still fun. I still love it. It's almost like a breath of fresh air, or walking down memory lane when I go back and play it again, because I can shut my brain off and just go into autopilot and play it. And I even recently did it's not up yet, I don't think, but it will be soon or at some point in time. I did a review of the dueling version with Flash versus Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash. The
And I
backwards
lost.
band, the backwards band.
It was awesome. I was teaching the game to a new player, and I was like, I was not taking it easy, but I was also,
Not min-maxing.
yeah, just like, let's go. Let's just play this thing and see what happens. And no, it was a very competitive game. I was going for one strategy. The person I was playing against went with a different strategy. Their strategy won out. It was really good. But I feel like if I were to play again, I might still try the same strategy just to see if I can get it to work. But knowing that the other way was viable was like, oh, sweet. And I feel like you can do that with most of the main sets, because all the sets, it's kind of like Ascension, standalone expansions, right? You can mix and match them. You just buy the ones you want, the ones that appeal to you. Heroes United is my favorite set. That's the second one they put out with like Green Lantern stuff, I just think is really cool, and the cards are really fun, and the combos you can pull off are badass. But DC, the deck building game, is my number 30.
My 30 is Marvel Remix. This was mentioned last week by you, I believe.
It was.
And there's not too much else to say. It was 9 last year. It's dropped a bit. Just haven't played it
much.
as much. And I've played a lot of other great games. But this is a fantastic game where basically we're trying to build a scene from a comic book in your hand. You need a villain, you need a hero or an ally, you need environment, you need tools, whatever they're called. And you're just basically either on your turn, you're either drawing a card. You're drawing a card and you're choosing where you're drawing it from. There's 2 decks and there's the center of the table. Once the center of the table has a certain amount of cards in it from discards, the game instantly ends and you see who has the most points from their hand. It's just a beautiful hand builder based on the Fantasy Realms system, and Marvel Remix takes that system and just turns it up a notch. It's fantastic what they did with it. Not only is the art better, yes, which I know Mike brought up last time, the iconography is just a lot better this time around, and they added like flip cards, like so you have Thor Odinson in your hand, but if you also get Mjolnir, he now transforms into a stronger version kind of thing, or I guess a better
Hulk.
example is like Hulk or Tony Stark turning into Iron Man, if you get like the suit kind of stuff, like just really cool ideas in a fantastic, easy to learn hand management game.
To be fair, though, to say the art is better than Fantasy Realms
know.
is a pretty low bar.
I know.
Yeah, well,
In all fairness, Fantasy Realms has had like 3 attempts at the art.
That's true, too.
And
I will say, so like, because I was listening to another show and they were kind of dogging Remix, didn't like Remix because they thought that it was too cluttered compared to like Fantasy Realms being more straightforward. I will disagree. I will disagree because I feel like the tags and the way that they implement the design on the cards in Marvel Remix makes it so much easier to teach new players. It's so much easier to keep track of what is good for you, what is bad for you. Because in Fantasy Realms, it's like, oh, well, this is worth 7 points if you have a storm. And it's like, well, do I have a storm? Like, how do I know if I have a storm, or a weather, card or whatever? And you're like, oh, well, do I have a weather card? And you're looking around. Remix has got all the tags right there on the side of the card.
So as they're splayed, you can see them.
And you can fan them out and you can see real easy, like everything you need. I just think the barrier to entry is so much lower and it's so much easier to teach. I know you had something to add to it, but
No, the iconography makes it easier, but also the usage of wilds in the original is still convoluted to score.
Yeah.
I feel like you almost need the app with newer players, whereas Remix, there's no app needed. It really makes the scoring a lot easier.
And again, that is a game that I think everybody plays, and the first time, like, you see them halfway through the game at click. And then it's like, by the time the game's over, it's like, well, we got to re-rack and play again, and we've done that with experienced players. It's like, well, that was cool, but let's not let Spencer win this time. Like, play again,
It's also just, I think, objectively better designed. If you look at the scores that come out of the game, you can have a game of Fantasy Realms where someone ends with 20 points and someone ends with like 300. Like, it's insane the spread of points you can have in that game. And in Marvel Remix, it's always close. Like, it is so much better designed. It just, from the scoring, it just clearly seems like it. And something that I would just tack on with the tag system is it seems like basically they took the tag system from like a Legendary, right? Where it's just like, here are the tags. If you have X picture on your card, you get 2 points for each one or something. Like, it's super basic tag system. Check out Marvel Remix if you get a chance.
The scoring ranges are unquestionably
You haven't played
tighter
Marvel
in
Remix
Marvel
yet?
Remix.
Not once.
How have you not played? You've been around when it's been played.
He said it last week.
He's probably with his magic friends.
That's true. He's been with his magic friends and forgot when he said that.
I know.
Well, if it was Dan, I would have said I wasn't paying attention, but I usually pay attention to what Bob says.
I know. It's weird. Okay, my number 30 is Imperial. Now, I know that you guys have not played Imperial,
No.
so it was my first group. Shout out to the Warsaw guys that helped get me so deep into this hobby.
Holla.
They used to play Imperial quite a bit, and I got like 3 or 4 plays of this game in. The last time I played it was probably 5 years ago, and then I played it again like 2 months ago. and just like my mind's blown. I'm like, how did I not appreciate this game so long ago? Because Imperial seems like it's a war game because it's got a rondel, so you're selecting your actions. You've got troops out on a map. You're moving troops. You're engaging in battle. But then there's that sneaky tax action. That's how you win the game because you only control the country of which you own the most stocks. Well, that changes because as you tax, you get opportunities to buy different stocks of other countries. So it changes, much like a War of Whispers, where you don't really control anybody. You can buy other stocks. You can control 2 countries at sometimes. Sometimes you're not controlling any countries. But when you tax, you get income based on how many territories you control and how many troops are on the board. And the big distinction on why this isn't a war game is you want your troops to die and do enough damage to control more territories, so you get more when you tax, but you want some of them to die off because you have to pay taxes on the troops that you have out. So it's literally a game of profiting off of war, right? How realistic of a theme can we get here?
That's pretty real.
The game is fantastic because what it makes you do is you're foreshadowing of which country you think is doing the best. That's the country you want to buy the stocks of. And that concept I've never seen any game quite pull that off like Imperial does. And the fact that this is an 06 release from Rio Grande, designed by Matt Gertz, who designed Concordia, one of my all-time favorite games. You'll hear Tim and I gush about later. Let's
Much
just
later.
not deny it because we do it all the time.
Yeah.
He
you
designed
hated
2
it this year.
very awesome, elegant, incredible games that just stand the test of time. There's so many hardcore players of Imperial. I finally went and got a copy of Imperial 2030, which is a newer edition of it.
Makes sense.
Getting the
It's from the
original
future.
is getting a little harder to come by, but I'm going to get a copy of the original. I've got to play it with you guys to see what you think of this game. This is a Euro game that just still, I just had a new appreciation of it, having not played it for 5 years and playing a whole bunch of other different types of games and revisiting it. Like, man, this game just like blew me away all over.
You just need to retheme it, call it like the Illuminati War, right? I mean, it's just that kind of thing. Right. That sounds awesome, though.
Yeah.
It really does. I love War Whispers. Might talk about it later. But yeah, that game does sound awesome. I love that kind of thing. It's horrible. Like, if you actually like look
You
at the
think
theme,
about
like,
it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
so is
don't-
like 80% of the games I play.
yeah, I don't mind that because I think that it also gives you some perspective and allows you to kind of
true.
like see things, and then you
Damn.
can just listen to War Pigs by Black Sabbath the whole time you're playing.
Well, it's funny because we play so
And
many
then
games
vote.
where it's all about
Yeah.
like killing other you're killing troops and sometimes killing your own troops to get points. But when you think about killing your own troops
Right.
so that your tax is more powerful, all of a sudden it changes the implications of the action, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's
For
cool.
money, it's not good.
It's awesome. Listen, I
the
do
root
not
of all
have a
evil,
problem with problematic themes if they're implemented in a responsible way, and that sounds like that's what is.
Yep.
It is
happening.
such an amazing game.
Okay.
Good pick.
Yeah. We'll see. So that takes us down to number 29. So my number 29, I'm sure we'll have to wait a couple weeks to hear Tim talk about it. Darwin's Journey.
Tim doesn't like it.
Tim don't like it.
Wow.
I was seriously looking ahead at my
Oh,
list.
really?
Yeah.
I did not think this would be that high for you.
Yeah, no, like, man,
It is really good.
Simone, yeah, he knocks it out of the park. Like, I love just the crunchy worker placement. I love that you are upgrading your workers, and depending on like what skills they have, like the little ribbons that you buy for them, they can go to different areas. You're putting out new worker placement areas with your little like what do they call those? The little magnifying glass things that you put out. Like the bits are beautiful, like, and it's the set collection, and it's just, I don't know, I just really
And the
enjoy
game design's really good.
Yeah, it is. It's just the type of games I really enjoy, right? Those super like crunchy worker placements where you got to plan 2, 3, 4, 5 turns ahead to make sure you've got the resources and everything you need to do those future turns. Like, I really enjoy that kind of stuff. So.
It didn't make my top 50. It is a really good game. I like it a lot. It's slightly overbearing. It's a game that like I don't want to play very often, like maybe twice
Same.
a year.
Oh,
Yeah. Like maybe like a twice a year game. It's really long. It's really crunchy. It's not easy to do well in. Like it's not something I want to play all the
Yeah,
time.
I maybe not all the time, sure, but I
Right.
definitely I want to play this game 3 to 4 times a year at least.
Sure.
So, Bob, I agree. I thought this game was great. It just missed my top 50. So that means Tim and I will be talking about it on our live stream on Wednesday night.
just missed my top
so-
50,000.
Yeah, it's really good. I really like how you can customize how powerful one worker is with
Yeah.
the stamps
Yeah,
that
it's
you
real
put on
nice
them.
when you're able to pull that off.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
It's
It is
really
really
nice.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, it's not when you can't.
Gotta play
It's
again
too
and
bad
figure that
Darwin's
out.
Journey couldn't make Tim's top 100, but stay tuned for Munchkin.
Get good, Tim.
No, I just think it's a really unique thing that where there's worker placement system, but then you also have like your workers have these tiers, and it's like so there's only certain places they can go, or if you do put it here, depending on how strong or good they are at that specific action, they're going to get more resources and stuff out of that.
I've also
really
been very
like that.
vocal about it. I wish the cards were more useful. I wish they were more interesting. The card
Yeah.
thing of like you have these like asymmetric characters that you can like.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like they give you things, then you
And
can
if
like
you hit a certain level with that with the
Yeah,
character,
then-
you're like, oh, okay, I unlocked this
yeah,
guy
you
who did
unlock
one
the
small
power,
thing.
and it's just like I wish those were more interesting.
Sure.
Very similar to my Lords of Waterdeep. Yeah, Lords of Waterdeep complaint, where I just wish the asymmetric powers you have
Were a bit
they're
more-
really boring.
Felt
Yeah.
more asymmetric.
And so that's all. But
Sure.
yeah, good game. I like it.
Yeah, Thundergriff games, really well designed. I just don't like playing it. It's beautiful though. All right, my 29.
Sure.
Sure. All right, we've all had a really good time playing this game. It's new to my
Do I
list.
look ahead?
Thunder Road Vendetta.
Yeah.
This game's awesome. This game is bananas.
Chaos.
It's from Restoration Games, and every time we played this, even with I think Jason from Board Game Mechanics, that didn't really love it. Even then, he's still laughing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
he
we're
still
all
had a good time playing it.
Yeah, it's just not his style of game.
Uh-huh.
But I just love the insanity and the chaos that this game brings. It's really funny because you just got done talking about this game where it's like, oh, contemplative, thoughtful decisions.
Out, decisions
Yeah,
turns ahead. You're
try
like,
planning. Try planning 5 turns ahead in Thunder Road and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah. What's funny is I talked to this game to multiple people, and different people who do not know each other be like, I'm an agent of chaos, and just slam into
Yes.
somebody. And it's like, that's what this game just
Yeah, this game just does a lot of things really
Yeah.
well. It's super fun. Obviously, you need to play with people that are going to be okay
Yeah.
with sort of the mayhem that is going to ensue. But I mean, essentially what you're doing is you've got 3 vehicles if you're just playing sort of standard version, right? And you got a large, a medium, and a small vehicle, and you can deploy them and use them in any order you want. And you're going to basically you've got cards and you're assigning them, or your dice, you're assigning the dice to the spots and what you want to do with them and how you're going to move them. You're slamming into your opponents. You're uncovering mysterious, hazards and, maybe you get set on fire. Maybe that's not so bad. Oh, it's a ramp. you know? And then you can bring in your choppers. And then those are the
Chopper
most
strike.
controversial just because you can get killed immediately.
By ending your move.
By ending your move
Underneath
under a
it.
chopper, which I don't know, that makes a ton of sense to me, but it does add to the madness. So that might be my least favorite part of the game, but I still don't care so much as to really try to rework it because it's look, that's just what happens.
Yeah, I love you. I just remember you having the big rig, which is 3 cars long.
Oh my gosh.
And you're hauling ass, let's call it,
Yeah.
for the finish line, and we have 3 choppers lined up just strafing you as you go by,
I
trying
don't
to
know
take
where
you
it is.
out.
I'll try. I have a picture of it in my phone.
Nice.
I'll try to get a picture so that we
Yeah.
can put it up here because we just had to take a picture of this big
Like,
rig.
Tim's gonna
We're just
win.
Helicopter. Just
Just trying to take him out as he's driving
Oh my
past.
gosh.
That was a
Very
ton of
funny.
fun.
It was so
Yeah.
much fun. Was that the same game where you were the motorcycles?
I was trying to be the motorcycles. It could have been.
Yeah,
yes.
trying.
Yeah,
That's-
it's tough. When
That's
you
what
have
most
narrow-
people tend to be with
yeah.
the motorcycle. When I was them, I was trying.
Yeah, you gotta have some open roadage because when you get hit and somebody rams you as a motorcycle, you're getting bumped because there's usually you hit 2 cars on cars. You roll a direction die and then which car die, and then one of those cars is getting bumped one direction or the other.
Yep.
But when you get bumped as a motorcycle, you're the one moving.
You
You're
lose.
always the one moving.
Yeah.
And again, thematically, it makes sense.
It does, but it's still a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
like to say, I think we have our first Bobism. It's open roadage.
Open roadage. It's all good. But anyways, after playing this game a couple times, like immediately knew it was going to be in my top 50.
Yeah.
I immediately knew it was going to be like on my new to me list. Where we'll see, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
definitely.
just was. This game is just so much fun. Again, play this at a drop of a hat. Like
Yep.
anybody wants to play it. I don't think it's really that hard to teach if once you've got somebody that understands the rules. It wasn't that hard to learn,
No,
to be honest.
it's actually super easy to teach. I taught those people at that last meetup that we were at in Warsaw.
right on.
And they hadn't played and taught
Oh,
them.
yeah,
and
yeah.
everybody caught on super quick. I mean, yeah, if you're doing like the motorcycles, it can be a little trickier. And if you're using like the asymmetrical abilities, it adds like another little
sure,
step to
sure.
it. But for the most part, it's super straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
and the abilities, and then like the equipment you can get.
yeah,
is
to
fun.
upgrade your cars and make
Yeah.
them different. Yeah.
Lots of
Good
fun
times.
things in this
Yeah.
in this box. Very strong recommend.
Yep.
And just enjoy the hell out of this.
And lots
game.
of ways to customize your cars and stuff too.
Yeah.
To make everything kind of different. So
All right, Dan.
good time. Good pick.
My number 29 is Star Wars: The Deck Building Game. I'm kind of surprised it's this high, but I think it's partly because I have not played it nearly as much as some of you. I guess I don't know how much you've played it.
Played it pretty,
Yeah.
quite a bit.
But I've only played it a few times, and like half the times I've played it was actually me teaching it to people
Sure.
at Gen Con. So that was an interesting experience. You always get stuff like that built around. But it's Star Realms 0.5. It's very similar to Star Realms, but it just has some interesting mechanics thrown in, like
Yeah.
the 3 factioned marketplace, right, where like you can only buy cards that are either neutral or on your team, but you can like attack cards that are not on your team. There's some interesting stuff going on there. The defending your planets with your spaceships, there's some really interesting stuff in here that I really liked. The only reason I don't own it is because I had played it and went to buy it right after the sleeved version ran out. And in my head, mentally, that makes the game cost $10 more to me
Yeah.
because I'm gonna have to go buy
My
the
sleeves. Yeah.
and I don't think it's worth the extra $10 personally. So, but it's a really good game, and I'm not going to go too much into it. It was new to the list because I just played it for the first time a few months ago. So.
Yeah.
Well
It's
done.
definitely like if I'm gonna play Star Realms or Star Wars, I might as well just play Star Wars.
Right.
It's just better.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing when this comes to like Steam and stuff like that because it will at some
Yeah.
point. Pretty much every Star Wars game becomes a video game at some point, unless it's too complicated. Like Outer Rim, I think, isn't one. But like
Is
a lot
Rebellion-
of Star
Rebellion's not
Wars,
out there yet.
I'll have to look into that because I don't think that would be a complicated one to do.
Rebellion. There's an older game that Rebellion is actually based on.
Right.
An
okay.
older PC game.
Oh, okay.
That was called Star Wars Rebellion.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that it had the same name. I'd be interested in that because Star Realms is not only like available on PC or mobile and everything, but like on PC I think it's free. And so it'd be cool to see the Star Wars one come out for people to be able to try it.
Yeah. Disney ain't gonna give that away for free though.
Sure, no, it won't be free, but even if it's like $5.
Sure.
All right, my number 29 is Marrakesh.
Wow.
Never heard of it.
Already, huh?
Oh,
game is that?
I was gonna
You
cut
can,
there
that's fine.
and look up really
Well, we did.
fast if this is a 2023 release. I think it is
Yeah, I think it is too.
because
It just came out.
I thought it came out late 2022.
Right.
Yeah, it was a 2022 release. That's what I thought.
Was it
just-
2022 release in America?
It
Yeah,
was
exactly.
really hard to get until Queen finally had it available on their site. It was only like
Well, they had to
Kickstarters.
like make all those big ass boxes.
There was a long delay between when they fulfilled it and it was actually available for retail.
Sure.
All right.
So last thing that was said was Marrakesh.
Yep. And yeah, so this one is actually a 2022 release, but it was just really hard to get, so I didn't pick it up until Origins of this year. And I finally got one play of it, and I was just blown away at all of the systems that are working simultaneously in this game. So first of all, I love Stefan Feld designs. I'll talk more about them later. But this one, he even said that this could be his best design. And it's definitely his largest game. And it was a bit daunting to even try to play the first time, but then I started like reading about it and I'm like, wait a minute, the concepts in this game are actually really simple. There's just a lot to explain. But what I like is how every action builds up through the game. You're basically piling up these same colored keshis in these areas. When you complete them, that's scoring at the end of the game, so you're incentivized to do that. But also, when you take actions in those areas, the more keshis in that area, the stronger the action is. And throughout the entire game, you're just building and building and building more of these things on your player board. And there's 12 different colors of them.
12
different
colors.
colors,
So Bob,
which
there's
is
2 different colors.
Shades of gray, my friend.
colorblind host here. I understand why this
was
game
tough.
was tough for them.
Yeah.
And they have a cube tower that you drop like the keshis into, so there's a chance some of them that were selected may not be available. That really didn't impact the game a whole lot.
I feel like that tower could have held more pieces up.
Yeah, and I've heard that complaint. But I mean, what they do then with the tower is the base of it has the icons of all the colors, so you sort them onto the icon.
So there's
and then
that.
those icons are on the player board. But I can understand how the extra layer of difficulty it adds for Bob. I totally understand that.
Spent a lot of brain power trying to keep those in
Yeah.
line. Yeah.
But just the way this game builds throughout the game and how many different available options you have that aren't that complicated once you understand how the turn structure works, it just blew me away. And I can't wait to try different things in this game. It's only going to go up once I play it more. I was really, really blown away by what this game did.
Yeah, I did enjoy the game. There was a lot going on. There's a lot of different areas and stuff and things that you could do. I definitely feel like if I owned the game, it would be one that I did keep and that I just wrote on it, right? I would probably go through all those little tiny pieces and then just like number them, because there's 12, right? 1 through 12, and then all those little pieces, like 1s, 2, like just number the pieces. So as they fall out, that's a 3 that goes there. And then there's just it makes it a lot easier in my brain to keep which pieces are what straight, because like a lot of those pink ones, man, those pink look gray, and gray is a color too that you have to keep separate. And I had a real tough time doing that, but I still had fun playing the game. So like I said, it'd be one of those games that I would just write on to make it more friendly. You should let me write on your copy, Mike. That way I don't have to buy my own and we can still play the game again.
I don't know anything about this game except what you just explained. I only have one question. What the hell is a keshi?
So the game is Marrakesh, and I
Right.
believe people from Marrakesh are called Keshis.
Okay,
Yeah.
So
it's
it's a person.
Okay,
yes.
I've been sitting here this
Yeah.
whole time
So-
wondering what the heck
It's kind of
you're
like that
talking
works at the
about.
bazaar or something like that, right? Isn't that what
It's like different
Okay.
people that have like different jobs in the town or the city of
Okay.
Marrakesh, and you're assigning them to these jobs. There's people
It's all
that gain
clicking into
water.
place now.
There's entertainers.
Yep.
There's people that
Going after
defend the wall, or military and
Yep.
stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
it's awesome though. It's great.
Okay. We'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
Number 28. So my number 28 is another new to me this year. I love hidden movement games. This game actually makes it interesting to be the others, right? Normally in a hidden movement game, being the one is like the super fun one. And a lot of times I feel like the others is kind of okay, but this game actually like makes the others a lot more entertaining, and that is Halloween.
Nice pick.
Bob, I'm going to interrupt you really quick. My 28 is Halloween. Yeah!
I just got
done,
Eiffel
Dan.
Towered by these clowns.
It's also new to me, of course, and Bob, continue.
Yeah, but so the hidden one person's playing Michael Myers, and the other people are actually like actively searching for items and trying to escape. And which way you're facing makes such like a huge difference, because he could be right behind you and you don't even know it. And like the first time we played it, Dan made. It's such a memorable moment. That first time I walked in the room, I looked out the window to make sure there was nothing there, and then here comes Dan. He's standing right behind me, and he just stabs me really quick. Like, oh my gosh, it was just such a feeling. Like I loved it. Like,
Just slowly, like, okay, Dan's turn starts. Just going to pick up Mike. I'm going to put him right behind you.
yeah, I didn't do great when my chance to be Michael. Dan did a much better job than I did, but like I said, I still had fun doing it. And like normally when I'm playing as the others trying to find the hidden one, I don't have as much fun. But I had as much fun as the others as I did playing the hidden role, and that is really hard to do. And I think they nailed it with this.
They
game.
did a fantastic job, because it's not like you like have a bunch of really cool actions on your turn as the others.
Sure.
What they did was they somehow did a fantastic job implementing the dread, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have
Yes.
you have this fear, this intensity when you're playing the thing of he could be watching you at any point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's not very easy to pull off, and this game did it. Because I'm going to come totally clean, guys. This is my number 28 game of all time right now. I've played it one time.
Yeah.
It's that good though.
I just loved it. Halloween is my favorite horror franchise of all time, with literally only well, and I say franchise, movie of all time, with really only Hellraiser coming even close. I think the first Hellraiser is fantastic, but the first Halloween movie is my favorite horror movie of all time, and this game just captured it. It is a fantastic. I love hidden movement games, and I think this one does a really, really good job of feeling like the character of Michael and the people trying to escape this unstoppable boogeyman. I think they did a really good job. Maybe, just maybe, and I've seen the movie pretty recently, I don't remember skateboards being that powerful in the movie.
Yes,
Skateboard's awesome.
is one weakness.
But
right.
so skipping Tim really quick to say that my number 28 is also Halloween
Nice.
by Trick or Treat Studios.
Yes.
I'll just tell you guys, I love this pick, but I'm not going to talk about it yet.
Okay.
Ugh. All right, guys. My number 28 is Growl.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it made it this time for me.
Growl.
So in Growl, designed by Joey Vigor, who
Friend of the show.
friend of the show, it has been re-implemented as the new Stranger Things Attack of the Mind Flayer game,
Oh,
which,
okay, yeah.
which is actually really cool. Joey's been very nice to us. We've met Joey. Dan and I talked to Joey like at length at a Gen Con a few years ago. He was just a super cool guy, very generous with his time. But I've been a fan of Growl even before all of that happened.
Right. You kickstarted it yourself.
Yeah. This is just like a very fun social deduction game, but it's not so. It's a werewolf without being too werewolfy. Because even Bob will
Yes.
enjoy playing this, right? Because
Correct.
what you're doing is you've got like a hand of starting cards, and they're either going to be bites or not bites. And if you have up to 3 bites, you're going to turn into a werewolf. But if you start your hand with a bite in the opening hand, right? There's only one as everything gets dealt out. Depending on player count, somebody's a werewolf, and then their job is to infect the other players and turn them into werewolves. So what's going to happen is there's when it's the active player, you flip the top card of the deck. You've got to give that card to somebody. You can't take it for yourself. And so if it's like a bite or a wound, because wounds can kill you, it's like, well, I can take a wound, but I prefer not to. Or guys, I cannot take that. It will kill me. And so there's all this table talk and negotiating going around. And so like there's this real fun push and pull of like, if you're the werewolf, you want to get those bites in your hand because there's going to be a night phase when you get to pass cards to the people to your left and right. And so you want to populate your hand with bites, but you don't want to be obvious about it. So sometimes it's like, I can't take a bite, or I can take this one, right? I'll take this one. And then when the charm comes up, you'll be like, hey, because that negates a bite. You'll be like, hey, you guys just gave me a
that
bite.
charm.
You should give me the charm. Well, now you're also keeping the charms out of other people's hands. And so you're able to hand the
Preventing them to be werewolves.
Yeah. So that you can then pass around the bites. And essentially what you do is you play a couple of rounds of this. You play it all the way through till it's all done. And then you're going to score points for how many coins you got. If there is at least one person not a werewolf, then all the humans score their points. And if there is everybody's werewolves, then the werewolf team scores their points. And then you play like 3 nights, and then you total up your points, and that's the game. It's very silly. It's very fun. I just really enjoy like the table talk. I enjoy like the negotiating and that like. Is this dude lying to me?
Yeah.
Like these games are
There's actually
fun.
a game in negotiating instead of just like, well, Mike looks guilty.
Yeah. Mark farted while we had our eyes closed. He's clearly a werewolf.
Clearly.
I enjoy that fuzzy box sleeve.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
In what way?
Family show, Mike. Family show.
Weirdos. I don't want to get too werewolf.
But it's got googly eyes on it.
Googly eyes.
But yeah, Growl's my 28. I love it.
Nice.
My 28 was Halloween. This is where it would be inserted.
Oh, yeah. Good pick, Dan.
Yeah, good pick, Dan.
Mike?
My number 28 is Decrypto.
You
So
love this game.
Decrypto, I absolutely love. This is my favorite word game, and I like it because it gives tension, whereas I have not, in a way, I haven't seen other word games pull off, because you've got 4 words and the numbers 1 through 4 are underneath them. You're going to draw a 3-digit code. You're going to write clues to get your team to guess the code. But the other team, when you're done, is going to get those clues and they're going to try to guess the code. Now, you don't do that in the first round. After 2 rounds, the other team has 2 sets of clues to guess on. Now you're trying to like group words together, and this is where the game starts to shine, because to win, you either have to guess the other team's code twice, or you lose if you get your own team's code wrong twice. And where the tension starts is when the other team has already guessed one of your codes once, and now you're the clue giver, and you're like, I can't be too obvious, or they can win the game right here.
Right.
So you're trying to be a little bit more vague, unless you've already gotten your team's code wrong once. Now you have no leeway at all. Like, you're like, I just love how the tension builds up from round to round as more of the in-game conditions have been satisfying, and you realize whether you can give really obvious clues. You can never give too obvious of clues, but there's that push and pull of the type of clues that this game steers you towards that I absolutely love. And so as I've seen more people enjoy this that I've taught it to, I think I finally got Tim into it. I think I finally got the Jason Smith into it. The more people I can get into this game, the more it just like rises up for me, because I really think this one is by far my favorite word game. So
I enjoyed it.
I'll start by saying, first of all, this is a fantastic game, and I genuinely want to play it right now. Like, every time someone talks about it, I'm just like, oh, I want to play that. Like, it's a really clever word system. My only problem with the game, and that's even a strong word, is I feel like it's always easy to guess the other team's word once you're given a chance. I feel like, and I think it's more of not the game's fault, but just like, it's very, very difficult for people to make a clue that will link your team to it, but not the other team to it. I feel like it's really hard to do that from what I've seen. But that's not negative to the game. It's a fantastic game.
My negative for the game, I think this game's great. I'll talk about it on the live stream. But my negative for the game is that sometimes it goes too fast. Because you either get too cute and your own team just does not get your clues.
Not getting where you're going.
Or the inverse, and the other team on the early opportunities has a chance to guess your
Steal it
clue.
out from underneath you.
Steal it before you can get it. I still love this game. I love the tension, that does create, because you're like, oh, and it really is tense and really thinky, but at the same time really fun, especially when you pull off some really clever diversions, but still can get people to guess your stuff. But that is sort of the strategy there, right? But
that's when the game is at its best, is when you get a player that can really just like, wow, what an interesting double meaning the person just pulled on.
Right.
I wonder what that's like.
I think some of that comes into knowing the people you're playing with, because you can start to use
true. I don't know
inside jokes. Yes.
So yeah, once you can start to use inside jokes and you know the players, you definitely get a very different meta from group to group, which I also really find fascinating about this is how different people. And I also like how it's not just one word clues. You can write a whole sentence out if you want to.
That's technically true. I never see anyone do that.
Yeah,
But
very rarely.
true.
You get like 3 words sometimes, but yeah, I think it just really shines, especially how different people play it. I to one way validate what you were saying is that the game is technically 8 rounds. It's either whoever satisfies the victory conditions or 8 rounds, and at the end of 8 rounds, then you get to guess the other team's words. Always try to guess the other team's words anyway, because that's the way you're going to win anyway. Like, if you know what their word is, you can figure out their code. I wish that was more impactful, because I've never seen a game go 8 rounds, ever. And
I think
I've got
5 might be the longest I've seen it go.
where to go. I have 28 plays of this, and I have not seen a single game go to 8 rounds.
Wow.
So you're right. It may be that it's, I don't know, some groups it does go longer than others. But the fact that 8 rounds is one of the in-game conditions, and then points based on guessing the other team's words, is not as important as you would think. But I still always play no matter what. You're going to guess the other team's words, because that's fun.
I guess
that's fun.
I guess
So-
the crypto is very much a journey, not the destination kind of game for me. Like, I do really enjoy the guessing of the clues and the giving of the clues. Like, and then
The points are irrelevant.
right.
Whose line is it anyway?
Just yeah. I think it's a blast. I think it has separated itself from other word games because of what it offers.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That takes us to number 27. Number 27. For me, this game killed Wingspan. I would much rather play Earth. Yeah, so on Earth, you're kind of tableau building. You're getting like an island, you're getting a climate, and you're getting another card. And
You're getting 3 different types of cards.
you're getting 3 cards. But then you're also like, you're getting compost, and you're building sprouts, and you're adding growth to your plants that you're putting out in this like 4x4 tableau. You're burying cards in your compost pile, and you're just trying to get a bunch of points. So the thing I like about it is that it's one of those games where everybody's doing something every turn. So one person is the main person. They will pick an action. They get a stronger action of that type. Everybody else gets a weaker action of that type. Once everybody's done, passes it to the next person. They pick one of the main actions. They get a stronger version of that action. Everybody gets another weaker version of that same action. And I just really enjoy that system that keeps everybody involved all the time. So there's not a ton of downtime waiting for your turn to come around. And yeah, I think it's really good. I think it was done well, and there's a lot of variety going on in that game. You can like different ways to do like the end game. You can pursue everybody pursuing the same ones, or you can do it so it's tiered. So the first one to get it's going to get more points. So depending on kind of like level, if you're just teaching new people, you don't want to be like play the one where everybody's getting 2 points, because then you're probably going to get all the first ones, and eventually people will get there too. But now they're only getting 2 points, where you usually got 10, and that would really skew the score. But if you're playing where everybody who manages to complete that gets 7 points, then it keeps the scores a lot more even, even if you're like have different levels of skill at the game. So.
Yeah, I like it a lot more than
Wingspan
as well.
Yeah.
I totally, I think I've said this before. I'm definitely in the minority here, but I can't wait for this game to be rethemed. I think they chose the worst theme possible. Like
Dan hates Earth famously.
He hates it. Yeah.
It could be
There's no planet
it could
B.
be terraforming a new planet instead. It could be building a space station. It could be so many things, and they just chose growing trees. And I just don't think that's an interesting theme to me personally.
Mushrooms.
I mean, good.
It's got beautiful art.
I think Earth is fine. I don't love it near as much
Earth
as
is fine.
I don't love it near as much as
okay.
everybody else. A lot of people love this game. Yeah, I mean it's fine. I'll play it, but
it's no Mars.
it doesn't move the needle for me though.
Right.
I think that's
It's
some good
great.
engine building.
If I continue to play it more, it'll go higher, because
Yeah.
I had it at 41. But I've only got 2 plays of it.
Yeah, we started playing on BGA now, which I wish that, like when you
Yes.
hovered, it would make the card a little bigger and like zoom in on it.
Oh, it doesn't do that.
It doesn't do that. Or like we're Beyond the Sun, where you hover over it and it gives just that text
Exactly.
breakdown. It's easier to read. I wish it did that. Maybe they'll implement that, but it's nice to be able to try the different engine building patterns and see what works. So.
Right on.
I think the theme's great as well. I really like the photos of the planet Earth that they use tremendously.
Yeah, but imagine photos of a fake planet.
One that Dan has made up.
Exactly.
All right, 27.
Yep.
My 27's already been talked about today, and I don't care because this game's
Today.
freaking great, and that's Marvel Remix, baby. This game is excellent. For everything that we said earlier, it took Fantasy Realms, which is an absolutely excellent game, and just kind of put it over the top. Again, ease of teach. It's so much more accessible. The art is better. Low bar, I know. But I thought Fantasy Realms was great and didn't even care about, like, the art was sort of like the joke,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, hey, look at this ugly game that we love to play. It's really good. And then Remix just came in and just kind of blew it away. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I'll die on that hill. Marvel Remix is my 27.
Yeah, again, we make fun of Fantasy Realms because of its art a lot and everything, right? But like when I first played that game, it blew my mind.
What a great game! It is a great
I literally
game.
was like, how have I never heard of this game before? This is one of the best games I've ever played. Like it's really good.
And both of these games are a million times better than Red Rising. Just saying.
Every time I
true.
show it to somebody, they
true.
want to immediately play it again.
Yeah, yeah, and that's Fantasy Realms. That's not even going into Remix. I mean,
Well,
Remix is same
Both.
thing.
Yeah.
They're both just great games. Anyways, so I won't go into a ton because we already did.
My 27 is my father's work.
Woo! Your father?
Nice.
Yes.
What was he working
So
on?
my dad worked in the meat department of Martin's for most of his life.
Me too. Well, not for most of my life.
I don't know about most of his life. I mean, I wasn't alive for most of his life. Okay, so my father's work was 44 last time by Renegade, and it's this is another game, by the way, that I was talking about this. I've only played this twice. And like I said, last year it was 44 because I think I'd only played it once at that point, and I was just like, I can't put it higher. Like, after one play, I haven't even experienced the whole game yet. But I just decided this year, I don't care. It's so well done. The gameplay loop is fantastic. The components are some of the best you'll find in the industry. I'm so happy to see games taking a spiral book format. I think this is a fantastic format for board games. Every time it's in a game, it is a good component, and it eases teach. It eases play. It is so much easier to do things. Forgotten Waters uses it. This uses it. Even where is that freaking
That
game?
Rogue Angels game we
Talisman,
played.
not Talisman. The Aladdin game.
Oh, yeah.
Arabian
Arabian
Nights.
Nights.
Tales of
Tales of
Arabian
the
Nights.
Arabian
Tales.
Nights.
I couldn't think of the T word it starts with. Tales of Arabian Nights uses it. What did you say?
That
uses
Rogue
it?
Angels that we.
Rogue Angels.
Yeah,
that's
Rogue
right.
Angels. Holy crap,
Every time
so
it's in a
good.
game, it's a great, and it's great here. And the whole playing over multiple generations of your
Yeah.
family through the story. Again, it has this.
Because it always applies. It is always your father's work. Whether
Right.
it was
Yeah.
the father before you started
My
or
father's father. My father's father's
or
father.
midway through the game, it's still your father, even though it was
Yeah.
the era you had just played.
Yeah.
No, this game it gives it this almost like time element, which again, I'm obsessed with time travel and time manipulation and everything. And while that's not here, you do feel the passage of time. You
Yes.
feel that here. The decisions you make as your father, now that you're the next character, that impacts you and what you're doing with your cars and everything. There's really, really, really good stuff here. The story, the global, I don't know what you call them, the global objectives or whatever that
Sure.
change how the story
Unfolds,
plays out.
yeah.
This is a fantastic story game with some of the best components you'll ever find, and it is a great game. I wish it was slightly cheaper, but it earns the money it's worth. Unlike
Yeah.
some other games, when you see the price tag, you're like, dang, and then you see the game and you go,
And the replayabilities there.
Yes.
Right.
You could really, could almost be like a lifestyle game. You could play, it will take a lot of time, but you
you can play this over multiple generations.
But yeah, you could you could play this game a lot, get the variable endings with different people
Correct.
and see the different things. And
Creepy meter.
You can
Yeah.
play it with your father or his father before him.
That's
right.
Well, I don't know if he'd play it.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not.
He's dead now. Wait, he's still alive.
He's still alive.
He's
I feel
back.
better. I think I'll go for a walk. Oh, you're not fooling anyone.
My number 27 is Karuba.
Nice.
Bahama.
This is the game I've played more than any other game in my top 50. So it actually moved up from 46 last year. It moved up this far because this box is more beat up than any other box I own, because I always take it and I'm always trying to get it played because it's so easy to teach, so easy to play, and for the depth of strategy or how difficult the rules are compared to the interesting decisions that you make, I feel like this game is like one of the tops of the totem pole for me.
Sure.
It's literally like bingo. 37, find that tile, place it on your board. You're building
And that's
paths. You're building paths between guys and pyramids.
Yep.
Or you can discard the tile
To move.
and you can move them. But really, it's this little miniature efficiency puzzle
It
is
is.
what it is.
It really is.
Because you're
Best game I've ever played.
min-maxing, you don't want to toss away a tile that moves you 4 if you only have guys available to move 2.
Right. Plus, that four-way is very important.
And it just, I love how easy it is to teach. I like the decisions of building these paths. And sometimes you've got these holes in your path and you're waiting on like very
specific
specific
tile.
tiles that have not come out yet. Like there's only 2 of those left
Draw
and I got
a T,
12
damn it.
tiles
Yeah.
left. Come on. Man, I really enjoy Karuba.
Is this the one that you move as many as like roads?
The exits
are
on there?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So, quick question, Mike. Have you purchased a fancy bag to pull your tiles out yet?
I have not. No, I've got another bag, but it's not fancy.
You gotta get
I
yourself
do
a cool
have
bag for it.
my.
Listen, what you do is
For
you
the
get yourself a
drawer.
friend that gets you this game for your birthday, and then he also provides a fancy bag.
That's right.
Well-
You got that fancy bag because it was bigger on the inside.
Yeah, that's right. It is bigger on the
It is
inside.
big on the inside.
We really want to play this with 8 and combine 2 copies. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Sorry, Mike. He's whistling Doctor Who.
Rudiger Dorn, Haba Games.
Yeah, it's great.
It's amazing.
We talked about it last week. Okay. Next up, number 26.
20 number.
My 26 has already been discussed today, but that's okay because I too am an agent of chaos. Thunder Road Vendetta. It's great for everything that Tim said, and I kind of talked about it a little bit too. But just the racing and the smashing into each other, and the shooting everybody, and it's chaos and it's fun. You can't play it as a racing game thinking you're going to be like Flamme Rouge or Heat, where you're just like trying to take it serious and cut the curve. No, you're just going to ram your car into the next person next to you and try to ram him off onto a ramp. Hopefully he hits the cliff and explodes, or you can shoot him with your helicopter. You know, it's just chaos, and it's a ton of fun, and it looks beautiful. If you get a chance to get the Maximum Chrome edition, it's got everything in there, all like trays and everything else. It's fantastic.
This game's so good. So good. Love it. Great pick.
Yeah, thanks.
My 26 has already been mentioned today. I feel like we're flip-flopping, Bob.
Yeah.
Descent, Legends of the Dark.
Yeah.
So again, everything that Bob said, this is Descent 3rd edition. I just recently talked about 2nd edition. I think 2nd edition's great. I think 3rd edition just kind of
Takes a step up.
Takes a step up. Dan, you're not wrong with the setup and the teardown.
Sure.
But again, I was looking at ideal conditions.
Ideal conditions.
Like, you know, and because what you're saying is legit. Usually,
Yep.
because Dan and our friend Justin and I have had like a game of this going, and I try to have as much of stuff set up
Very much appreciated.
as when they show up, it's like, okay, guys, like I didn't want to spoil this, so I just kind of did this much, like where, you know, so it's at least like 3/4 of the way set up, like, you know, and laid out, because it saves a lot of time.
It does.
Because I just want to get to the meat of the game, but when we play the game, like it's like the drama's there, the tension as different things are happening and coming at you, and even like Dan and I especially, like, will in the interstitials,
Yep.
we'll just read our stuff in character.
Oh, nice.
You know.
Yeah, like if my character's talking, I'll read it in a voice, you know,
Yeah,
like
same.
Absolutely.
Because like I'll be reading, like I'll read like just the narrative, and then I'll do my character and be like, oh, Dan.
I'd be like, what do you mean, sir?
Yeah.
You know, just like
Yeah, and it's just fun, and the way that different characters can kind of pop up, and then you have to take them depending on the
Doing
mission.
their
you're gonna
certain
do.
missions, yeah.
You're gonna take different characters, so it kind of also forces you to try out different things in your party. And some people might really only want to play their character, and that's fine, because then it's like, oh, I don't care, I'll try that new character, right? And it gives you that option.
Someone's
that
usually
ability.
willing to try something different.
Yeah. And so this can be group dependent, and I do think it does help to have a little bit of that set up ahead of time. But this is just a great re-implementation of a game that I already love. I think the story's really interesting, unlike some other legacy style games that I've played in the past, where I feel like it's just fan fiction.
Right.
This actually feels like a real story that's kind of unfolding, and it's just really fun. I have a great time every time I play this. We need to actually get.
Wait till you guys get through the
back
first
to our
act.
group.
Act
I
2.
know the problem is, it's just like I don't remember where we were. It's been so long.
I know.
It app refreshes you though.
Yeah,
That's true.
but
It keeps track of all this stuff.
This game has stepped up for you because it was number 36 on your list.
it was.
last
But I
Yeah.
played it more now. You know, like
Right.
since then.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, it's just good. It's just good. Anyways,
Yeah, that's why on my table, I've got one of those a TV like against like the back wall,
Oh, yeah,
so I
yeah.
can cast the app to that, so everybody can kind of see it. At the
yeah,
same
maybe
time.
next time we play it in the living room and I cast the app on the big TV.
There you go.
It'd be a good way to go.
It was cool. We did it with XCOM when we played XCOM. the
Yeah.
other day.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't really matter that much because as long as the person running the app yells
Communicate-
everything, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. But it's cool to see the stuff. On
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It just adds to the experience.
Right.
Right.
Okay, my 26 was 5 last year.
Wow.
Oh, baby.
And it's just dropped because it's it's just one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's It's literally just that I like heavier games more than light games. That's all it is. And so while I'm doing this, the simple fact is heavier games move up the list the more I play them, and light games move down. This is still my #1 pure party game of all time. I think Just One is a perfect party game. It is timeless. I don't believe in evergreens very much. A lot of times people say this game's an evergreen, and I'm like, that game barely holds up. But you know, your rose-tinted glasses are fine. I think Just One will never not be incredible. It is just, and it's because it's the most basic concept in the world. I mean, it's like saying that charades is old. It's like, yeah, sure, but it's like it's
still fun.
It's just people acting dumb and then you guessing things. Like, that's all it is. It's timeless. And I think Just One is perfect. This has got to be the most played game I've ever had, but it's because it depends on how you count a played game.
Yeah.
You know, like even if you count us doing it I don't know if it's the correct way, but the way that we do it, where we basically will just do like 20 cards or something, and then we'll have like a pile that we got correct and a pile we got incorrect, and at the end of the 20 cards, whichever pile's bigger is whether we won or lost. Like that's what we tend to do. So even if you count just that entire process, each person going 2 or 3 times or whatever, and then seeing if you won or not, I have played this game, I don't even know. It's got to be hundreds of times. It's got to be the most played game. It's fantastic. If you don't own Just One, it is my #1 recommendation for people. It always is. It's it is the party game you just have sitting on the shelf for if you're ever bored and people are over, if you're having like a family get together, like a Thanksgiving or something, if you just want a warm-up game for the actual game you're going to be playing. It fills all of those slots perfectly. Just One is the perfect party game to me.
It's a great icebreaker.
Yeah, and the fact that it's so cheap and easy and to learn, and
its
one of my
markers
most
kind of
played games.
suck.
that's they're iffy.
Yeah.
I kind of just keep extra markers around anymore.
Exactly.
So many games that need them.
So many.
I think as gamers, that's just like, it's kind of like role players have a bunch of extra dice.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of extra
Dry
markers.
erase
That's just how it works.
And when you do both, you have a lot of just
You have a
crap.
dry erase dice.
I haven't gotten as many get-togethers with like my casual gamers, so this one hasn't gotten played this year, but it's still one of my most played games.
I'm literally always willing. I don't like playing just one game in a game night. Like even if we're getting together to play
A game.
Dune or
Right.
something,
Hegemony.
or Hegemony or Twilight Imperium, like literally, like even if the whole point of us getting together is that game, usually after that game I'll say, do you want to wind down with some Just One? I just like, it's like a mental thing that I don't like playing only one game. It feels like a waste of a night to me. We could have played so many more games, but also it's just a perfect wind down game. Let's just each play 2 rounds of Just One.
It's not as fun at 2 players.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't recommend that one. You're right.
Yeah.
We just finished Rebellion. You want
All right.
All right, my number 26 is Chinatown. So this is just a negotiation game I've played the most, and I really like negotiation games. It's very simple, and it's very easy to get new gamers to play. And so you're basically just distributing different numbered properties and different types of businesses out to every player. Then you get the opportunity to trade them. So there's a built-in trading phase that you can time or just do it as long as you want. Once everybody is done agreeing to trades, then you get to place your businesses out. And if they are the same type and they are adjacent to each other, then they get a higher income. If you fulfill the entire set, then you get an even bigger income, and most money at the end of the game wins. I like that you can trade your money. So if it's really that valuable to get like this particular property, you may actually be trading away victory points. You can offer money or your properties or your businesses. It's one of the things I really like about Foundations of Rome. It's got that property adjacency, and that's what makes more properties more valuable than others, and you can trade those properties with other people. And I just like how the value of those properties changes depending on the people you're playing with or what sets they're working on. That just works so well for me in games, and this game just does it so well in a very simple package. This has been reprinted by several different companies. I know Z-Man was one of them. There's a couple others.
Yeah, Z-Man's
Z-Man's
on
on mine. It's a great classic game. I still just bring it all the time. It's always in my bag.
This is a game that I've only ever played on Tabletop Simulator. I would love to have a physical copy of this game. I really like it for the same reasons that you do. I know Dan is not as hot on it.
No, it's not. I was saying I think I did play it in real life.
you
actually.
did you? Okay.
Because I played with you on Tabletop Simulator. We learned it the same day.
Yep.
But I think I did play physical after that. But the thing that I'll say about this game is that it's not a game I normally like. I hate trading and bargaining in games because I don't know how to do it. I just don't. I don't like it. I don't like, even in real life, if someone's like, I'll sell you this $400 car for $1,000, I go, sold. I just don't want to deal with the bargaining, you know?
Mike's like, I got a car for you.
I was really impressed with this game. When we played on Tabletop Simulator, I was like, oh, that was really, that was a well-designed game. I like.
Nice.
I just wish you could steal property.
Arbitrarily. That actually means something saying Dan likes this because it doesn't have a lot of rules and
Right.
it's a mechanic that you don't like that much.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And I don't think the art's like amazing either.
No,
right?
it's
But
not.
no,
In
it's-
fact, and I wanted to bring this up, they reprinted and rethemed this game, which I think can help because the theme has never really done a whole lot for this game, and honestly, the art really hasn't either. It's now Waterfall Park, so now it's much more accessible.
Didn't even know that.
This is recent. I think this is just this year. I'm sorry, I don't remember who's reprinting it, what publishing company, but it has much better art, and they actually made it a lot less hardcore on the trading parts. Like some of the sets are a little bigger, so it's not as restricting on the number of sets that can be put together. I like Chinatown so much, I may just get Waterfall Park just to have another version of this game.
Well,
'cause
it'd
I
be
love
good
it
to
so
have a
much.
comparison with the updated version versus the original. It's kind of funny because this is
Repos.
that exact example of a game that if I pulled it off the shelf and looked at it, I'd be like, I may not even pull it off the shelf,
Yeah.
to be honest. But then having played it and was put in a situation where we were playing some games online and they're like, hey, we're playing Chinatown. I'm like, okay, you got to teach me. I've never played it, never heard of it. Let's go. And then, like, through the course of playing it a couple times, I'm like, I really like this game. This game's really good. And I never would have given it a shot.
This is another one. Shout out to my Warsaw group that got me into gaming. We played this one so much. I got 11 plays of this game in. I just constant player interaction the entire time. You're always looking at what other people are working on. I just love it.
I do like again. So I don't like bargaining and trading and stuff, but I do like limitless bargaining and trading because you can decide what's important to you, and even if it's a bad deal, it just doesn't matter. You can just say, listen, I'll give you every tile I have if you give me that freaking tile.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just want that tile. And the deal doesn't make any sense, but you'll get what you want because you're a terrible bargainer. And I do like limitless. You know, it reminds me of like QE, right? We're just like, I'll bet $1 billion. It's just like, why? Because I can.
Yeah,
You know,
'cause I'm a madman.
So it's that's interesting.
It's really fun. I know I'm still going, but it's really fun to play with different groups because I've seen like Grandma who keeps using the sympathy as a trade. Grandma's not doing very well. Look how few properties I have out there. And so everybody's giving her the benefit of the doubt, and then she blows everybody away at the end of the game. Like, wait a minute,
Suckers.
how'd you have over $1 million? I only had like
Also,
600K.
Mike's grandma famously refers to herself as grandma.
grandma.
She speaks in the third person all the time.
Look at grandma.
It wasn't my grandma. It was,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah.
Well, when
it's
you say
fun to play with.
when you refer to yourself as grandma, though, you were then the universal grandma.
Right, everyone's
That's
grandma.
true.
Everyone's
Yeah.
I honestly refer to this one as like gamers Monopoly. It's really it's so easy to get people to play this game, and everybody enjoys it every time.
So it's the opposite of Monopoly.
You know what I mean? Like,
I wasn't gonna say it.
You can pass go.
Yeah.
but people that don't game a whole lot,
Sure.
you know, you say gamers
Yeah.
Monopoly, and hey,
Right.
for some
Right.
people they're in.
So before we get to number 25, let us take a look at our sponsor.
Lasercraft Workshop would like to introduce our set of 3D printed damage counters for popular trading card games. These stackable damage counters allow you to easily track damage assigned to cards during a battle. The set comes with 16 yellow 10s, 7 orange 50s, and 7 red 100s for a total of 30 counters. Lasercraft Workshop is accepting pre-orders now To pre-order your set of these damage counters, visit the link in the description below or head over to lasercraftworkshop.com.
Thanks, sponsor. And now back to these regularly scheduled program. So number 25. So my number 25 actually took the place of its, we'll say,
Predecessor?
Predecessor, sure, because it's the second game in the
Okay.
Artemis series, but Artemis Odyssey. I really enjoy Artemis Odyssey. I love how you're putting out all these different planets. You have this whole lineup, and you're putting your action cards down in different spots, and then they're all going to activate in that order. Yeah, I like that when you're traveling to different planets, you don't have a card to travel to all the planets. You are relying on other people to get you to those other planets, and it's just a really unique system. The player aids are fantastic on it. Like, it's just done really well. Like I think it's super unique, and I really want to play this game some more.
Yeah, Grand Gamers Guild, really good.
Yes.
Go on, what are you saying?
No, you guys reviewed this.
Yes.
Right? So I wanted to bring up that there's like an interesting controversy around this game. I haven't played either game. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
There's like a controversy around this game that like came up after we did our video. So watch it. Views. No, that was like this. So this has nothing to do with the previous Artemis game. It just has the same name, and it's actually a remake of a different game or something. Like,
no,
people were
it's
talking about
it
that.
takes off because you have the Artemis Project where you're starting out, but then the Odyssey is going from there and exploring more of the
Right.
universe.
I remember people in the comments saying, I don't know why this is being compared to Artemis Project. It's nothing like it. It's a remake of X game or something. Like, I remember that being a conversation that was going around, and I didn't understand what they were talking about.
Yeah,
I just didn't know
okay,
if you knew anything.
It's because it's not necessarily like this. Not the same gaming system. It's a different type of gaming
Yes.
system, yes,
Right.
but it's still in the same kind of
Universe.
world. Yes,
Sure.
exactly.
So, like, basically, it's one of those deals where you could theme Artemis Odyssey anything you want
Yeah.
as long as it's space exploration. But
Right.
it makes sense as a company to have, like, we've got this design we really like, and we're gonna add it and integrate it
Right,
into
you're making
this.
an IP.
it's like
basically.
Into this
Scythe
IP.
and then Expeditions, where it's
Right.
not like a Scythe-like game, but it's based kind of like in that universe.
It's still
so
not-
it's a similar kind of thing.
Okay, I just was seeing so many people talk about
Sure.
how weird the comparison was. Not just on our video, but like
Right.
all over the place, and I just didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah, because I didn't know if it was going to be the same kind of like dice placement to gain resources thing like Artemis Project was, but it's not. It's a completely
Right.
different type of
Yeah.
system, but it was still super enjoyable. And
It's pretty cool.
And yeah, I definitely want to play it more times because I think that the space exploration system is super neat, and then the way you're building your different buildings to try to gain more resources, or if you're building for points, and just the whole action system, because there's like 12 different slots for action stuff, and you're only going to put like 3 cards down each, and you're putting them in different spots, and then they're being revealed in order depending on
And-
where they got put.
yeah.
Trying to get that timing right. Like, ooh, man, I better do the scoring soon, because if I let Spencer put his build down before my scoring went down, he's going to score as many points as I do. And yeah, it's really unique.
That's a really fun
Yeah.
aspect in that game of where that way when it's your turn, you're choosing where to put
Where
and
the
and your
timeline-
action is face down, and
Yes.
so you don't know
You don't
what
know.
action other people are
Right.
taking. And so it's like, man, if Bob does like this action,
Yeah.
and that'll
think he's
help
gonna
me.
produce,
That's
so
going to give
yeah,
me.
I'm gonna try
That's
to do
going to give me
this.
everything I need. So I'm going
Yeah.
to try to build over here because I think somebody's going to
Right.
produce before
Not a
that.
Right, so it's
production.
kinda
You're like,
like-
damn it.
It's kind of like that roll through the galaxy thing where you like
Yeah.
pick your things
Slightly,
at a
yeah,
time.
yeah.
I like this better than
Sure.
Me too.
Roll, but
I'm glad you really liked it though, because you used to talk about Artemis Project like
Yeah.
crazy, and I never played it.
Never
and
played
then
it.
the fact that you like this one,
and I never played Project, but I came in on Odyssey and I thought Odyssey was pretty fun.
Yeah. No, Project is still good. Like if you like the dice worker placement and that kind of like a bumping mechanic where like the lower die are going to get placed ahead, and so you can kind of like, oh, somebody's going to put this 4 down here and grab all these resources. Like, well, I'll just put 2 2s down there and I'm going to get all those resources. You're not
'em.
going to get any now. Yeah. So it's a little cutthroat like that. Yeah.
That's 2 Bruno Cathala games on your list. He co-designed this one.
Mike's digging for a theme.
My theme was new. Like I say, most of these were new. That was a new to me this year game, and yes, as have been most of the earlier ones, except for one.
All right. My 25 was 20 last year.
So pretty close.
Wildlands.
Ooh yeah.
So this is Martin Wallace. This is like a
Friend of the
weird.
show?
Martin Wallace design. I say weird because there's no trains.
Yeah.
There's no tracks.
No tracks.
No
industrial.
Yeah, there is a little bit of I don't want to say set collection, but kind of set collection. Well, you're collecting points.
Well, you're collecting the bodies.
Points of the sets. You're trying to collect crystals. So basically the first team to get to 5 wins, and you can get 5 by getting these crystals or by killing off your opponents.
Yep.
And you're gonna everybody's gonna start with their own asymmetric faction, and that faction is gonna give you a deck of cards, and then the cards you play, they're multi-use, so they can trigger different characters, and they're gonna give different characters different abilities, and you can always play them for like a move. And it's really fun because what you're doing originally is there's almost like a draft where you're seeding with the numbers, and all the spaces on the board are numbered, and you're seeding the board. You're drafting, and then you're seeding the board with the different numbers.
Yeah, you're seeding. I haven't played in a very long time. You're seeding other people's victory points. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Well, so you're placing the crystals, and then I'm basically like picking where
The cards you don't pick are where you're going to spawn.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And so you're kind of like manipulating, and maybe like
I'm going to keep this card right next to that spot where I know you're going to have to put a guy.
Yeah,
And you're
and
like, I'm going to put a
so-
guy here. Excellent.
Yes. Thank you for and now I reveal.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game, there's just like a couple different layers to this game that I really enjoy, and I like the asymmetry of the factions. It's not like a perfect game, but I just really have fun playing this. The first time I played it, it kind of blew me away, and I hadn't played. It's very restrictive, but I just really like the tough decisions and the usage of the cards and how you use them, because you can use a bunch of them like all at once, but now your hand
Then
is
you're empty.
depleted,
Yeah.
and it's going to take you a little while to kind of build
that
it back
back up.
up. So, but
It's skirmishy.
yeah, but it just does a lot of things I like. I played this game and I was like, I think this was it's funny because it's one of the first Martin Wallace games I played. I still have never played Brass, but I played
That's funny.
Wildlands and love it.
Which is one of his like off the wall kind of designs.
Yeah. I like the hipster, right? Like I like Martin Wallace.
Oh yeah, he did Wildlands, right? Yeah.
Of course, you have the Judge Dredd version too, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Helter
And
Skelter?
Helter Skelter. And I like
Yeah.
that one too. And you can integrate both of them
Yeah.
easily. Yeah.
It's a ton of fun. I like how the factions are all like completely different. Like you have like the undead faction.
the Clockwork faction.
Clockwork faction. You have like mages, and you have like it's a good time.
Yeah, there's also the adventuring
The
party.
seeing the board is super intriguing.
That's probably my favorite part.
Let's see the board. Okay, let's clean it up and go.
Yeah. Let's do that again, though,
that
because
again.
that was
This
super
game plays
fun.
in 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's a game of setup.
Yep. But anyways, Wildlands, super good.
Fun
Really
pick.
like it.
My 25 is It's a Wonderful World. It's a Wonderful World was 31 last year. It has moved up, and that's
Wow.
just because I think it is maybe the best pure engine builder that there is. I love this game. I think it is a very attractive game for how simple the components are.
Yep.
I love the utopian look that they gave this. I think it's a really good look with the art direction and everything. The colors they chose for the cubes, Bob, are great. And I love the idea again. So this is a basic a drafting engine builder. You're getting cards, you're picking the cards you're going to keep, and then you can kind of just leave them out in front of you until you decide to build them, which is nice. But the biggest thing to this game that just again makes it feel so clean and so just like really feeling those gears turning engine building game is that every card you build becomes part of your production. So you're producing and you're creating everything that's in this line. And then if you build this card, it slides in your production line. And the next time you produce all those cards again. So if you can produce 3 cards on your turn, that's 3 cards that are entering your next production line that are all going to activate that next turn. And the entire game is just craft as many cards as you can, produce. Craft as many cards as you can, produce. And obviously all the different end game goals that you can go for all just feel really interesting to me. You know, you can do for every green card and industrial card that I have in combination, you know, you get points. So you just see someone who just has green and industrial cards in their line. My favorite goal to do is just to pick one of the two people types.
Yeah.
There's like orange
Go
and blue
for 'em.
people, and just collect as many as possible because it's so fun. Not only are those each worth a point at the end of the game, but then you can get cards in your production that say they're each worth an additional point. And then you can get another card in your production that says they're each worth an additional point, right? And you can start getting it to where these little tokens you collect are worth like 5 points a piece, and you just have like 30 of them. Like it is such a fun victory condition in a game to me. But they're all interesting. You just see the cards that you get and see what you're going to build. I think this is a fantastic engine building game. It's really good.
One of the things I really enjoy about that engine builder though is like, so if you, because it builds and like the different colors go
Right,
in
in
order.
order.
And if you can in the first round build something that gets produced in the second round, it's going to go and you're going to get the resources from that
Right.
one, and then you can keep kind of using those to build down the line.
Yeah.
And really kind of get that engine going
Yeah,
quick.
that's very true. Your
Yeah.
production is in a set order, and also victory points get handed out to whoever had the most of each production and everything. But yeah, so if you can like say that the black is first, right? If you do that and that produces enough to instantly build a card that has green on it, you're now getting more green in your
When the green
production.
comes up. Yeah.
that's just a really good game.
It's really good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's decent. I don't hype it as much as a lot of people
Okay,
that
well, we all
really
just said
like
it's really
it.
good, so.
But it is really good.
Definitely get that expansion that makes it go up to 7. 'Cause
Yeah.
being able to support that many players and it still plays in like 45
Right.
minutes.
Yeah.
I think they offer
Yeah, it really
a box
hums.
that has all of that together in one thing, and that's definitely the way to go if you're going to get it. Yeah.
I have not played It's a Wonderful Kingdom yet. It looks great.
Yeah. Same thing, but for 2 people specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
My number 25 is Role Player.
Okay.
Role Player is
Great.
one of my favorite dice manipulation games, and I think it's the theme for this one that like really draws me into it. My only role playing experience is from video games, and I just gotta say the character selection screen. I spend so much time
So
on
much
that
time.
screen. Like before I even get to that screen, there's usually research involved in like the character I want to build, and then other times not. I just hang on that screen and I'm like, what kind of character do I want to start? And I like how in this game you get those backstory cards and then you can pick your faction. It's like you're kind of building sort of a strategy for yourself as you go. But then it's a dice manipulation game where you're taking dice from a market and you're adding them to your attributes. So you're actually building your character is the game. So you're building up your strength and your charisma and your intelligence and your wisdom. Meanwhile, when you slot that die in, you get a special ability from it. And here's where your brain just flips on its end, because all of the different dice manipulation options that you have, you can flip some dice on the other side. You can flip some dice. You can pip them up or down. And the fact is that you're trying to complete these columns or the rows that are your attributes, and the values are one of the in-game scoring conditions. Like, hey, I'll get 3 points if I get my intelligence above 18. So you're trying to slot every 6 you can into your intelligence, and just the fact that you're doing that, but you're also buying cards out of a market that can be like part of an armor set that'll give you points, or scrolls that give you special abilities to use, or scrolls that give you points at the end of the game. And then the best way to play this game is with the Monsters and Minions expansion, because you can play base Role Player and go, hey, this is a really good game. And that's what I thought. I was like, man, this game's awesome. And then you play it with Monsters and Minions, and it gives the whole game like a finality you didn't think it needed, because now if there's no market cards you like, you can fight a minion instead, and it'll give you XP cubes, which you can use for re-rolls against the final monster, or you can buy more dice to roll against the final monster. And then there's a finality in that you're fighting a final boss. And as you fight more minions, you can learn some of the bonus dice you'll get based on satisfying certain conditions against that final boss. And then you roll all these dice at once, and your value determines the score that you get. It really makes that game sing. Role Player is excellent. I just wish I had played it this year. I have not. So it dropped a little bit from 21 to 25, even without playing it all year. So
Yeah.
Awful.
I just love it though.
Yeah, it's a really good dice manipulation game, and I've never played with any of the expansions, and I think it's really good still. So
Monsters and Minions is must have. Fiends and Familiars is not my favorite, but I still like the split dice options. And Familiars are basically like a dog that runs around with you, so it's an extra row to fit dice into, which is interesting.
okay.
Very cool.
Takes us down to number 24. So my number 24, I thought I played this game last year, but it wasn't on my list, which is kind of surprising.
Well, I'll correct you if you're wrong.
This is true. I just looked on my phone. I wasn't checking messages. I was looking for that. It is definitely the smallest box game that I have on my list. Ooh. Scout.
Yeah.
It is a great little, what would you call that? Hand management?
shedding?
It's the
card
opposite
shedding?
of trick taking.
Yeah, opposite of trick taping. But you have cards in
Take
your hand, and
tricking.
one of the cool things about this game is you normally you put your cards in your hand and you're rearranging them. You cannot. Once you pick your cards up, you can take them and flip them all the way over and check those card numbers
is
out
cool.
because they're different, or you can flip it this way. And you're playing those cards just like that, but you're trying to get sets, you're trying to get inner rows, you're trying to beat the cards that are sets and inner rows that are out there already. And then as you play cards, then your cards will kind of like move together and you create new sets and new inner rows and things like that. And it's just, you're trying to be the first one to get rid of all your cards. And like the theme is irrelevant. And
It is.
but
What's this theme word you're
yeah,
saying?
it's just some colors I slapped on the box to try to
They
get
have a
people to
theme.
buy it. Yeah, apparently. But no, it's still a ton of fun and it's super simple. It plays up to 5 people. It plays fast and like anybody can play this game. You know,
Yep.
like I've taught so many people. What?
No, I'm just saying you're right.
Oh, I was gonna say like except for me.
Well, so Dan hates trick taking, so this is like his favorite kind because
Well,
it's
that's
the
what I was just saying.
anti-trick taking.
That's what I was just saying because he said anyone can play. I not only hate trick taking games, but I'm
Yeah.
also awful at them. I've only played this game 3 times and I'm undefeated.
It's not the
This
best-
game
obviously, it's not
stinks.
the best game. It's only number 24.
Yeah, but it's Dan's number 1.
It's true.
Wow, how mysterious.
Yeah. But no, it's a
play
great
it
game.
again.
If you can find a copy of it, whether you have the Americanized version that has the ridiculous theme on it, or there is the version that came out like in Japan, which has no theme, which is just
Perfect.
fine. But it's by Oink Games, I believe it is.
Something like that.
But yeah, tiny little box. And actually, Tim's sister made a insert. 3D
Of course she
insert
did.
for that.
Of course she did.
But no, it's fantastic. It's a great little game. If you can find it, get it, play it.
Get it? Got it? Doubt it.
Done. All right, 24. My 24 is, I don't know, it's one of the newest games on my list. This game I very quickly became obsessed with. After Us. After Us is my 24. This is Pandasaurus Games, Vincent Dutray art. I forget who designed it, but they did an amazing job.
Yep.
This game is so straightforward, yet so interesting with all the choices. You're just gathering resources by you've got a hand of cards and you just lay them out, and then the fun part is ordering them to create these brackets, and then the completed brackets or
Frames.
closed-in frames, you will get all the resources in there, and then you get to decide what kind of card you want to buy. But before you do that, you got to use the token in
Yeah,
which you
pick a secret token. Like, that's who I'm going for.
and that's what you're going to buy. But that token also has an action on it. And the important thing is that you get that action for free, but then everybody else can spend 2 resources of the same kind to then use
copy your effect.
use that effect.
Of one person adjacent to you, so because it plays up to 6, so you can only really copy the
Do
people.
the
Monkey see,
adjacents.
monkey do. Like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I can do that too. Yeah,
And this game's just really good. It's really fun. We played it a ton,
A ton.
on BGA.
IRL, I played it a ton.
Played my physical copy a few times. I played your physical copy a few times.
Yep.
I played this game a lot. I love it. Like, I constantly am wanting to get it to the table. I still need to try out the solo mode. But one time I was about to try out solo mode, had it all set up. I'm reading the rules, and then Bob's like, "Hey, you want to play it on BGA?" I'm like, "Damn it, yes."
Yep.
Okay, so
Fine.
I just finished sleeving my copy,
Yeah.
so I was gonna play it. So I put it away, and then we just started playing it on BGA. I love this game. It's really good. It's
Really
really
good.
fun. It's really interesting. I've seen a bunch of different strategies work with it, which I think is really appealing to me.
I like that it plays so fast and that you can try different strategies. And you're not like, okay, well, I just wasted 3 hours on a strategy that didn't work.
That didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
45
like, okay,
minutes.
if that, and
Yeah.
especially online,
Yeah,
because it manages
online's
all the
even
resources
faster.
for you, which is so much quicker. But yeah, well, I actually just taught this Friday night to my Magic buddies.
Oh, okay.
And they liked it. They thought it was fun. So,
Magic
my
buddies.
Magic buddies.
No wonder it went so fast.
That's right.
But I taught this at Thanksgiving, and I think we were done in an hour. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Teaching all new people. You know what I mean? And yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Just really good. I love this game.
I have played this game a ton.
I'm obsessed with it on BGA.
It
I'm
feels
curious
good.
now. I don't
It's
have
super fun to
all
play.
my plays from BGA logged onto here yet, but I do have 35 plays of this game already. It's a lot.
So just a few.
Just a few.
I'll have to plead.
That's
the
BGA
fifth on
and
this
IRL.
one.
That's fine. Plead
Yeah.
away. You'll hate my next one.
Yeah, I usually do. My 24 is Resurgence.
Nice.
Yeah. I know
Wow.
you already mentioned it.
Yes.
Bob, have you mentioned it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I knew that you had.
Oh.
So Resurgence is new to my list this year by Half a Kingdom Games, and it's just a really, really good bag building worker placement game. You've heard about it already. The combo station that goes on in this game is just really good. When you get your engine going, and which is not difficult to do, it instantly starts taking off. It makes a game that's like engine building, a game where any gear fits into any spot on the engine. You just decide what strategy you want to do. Anything that exists in the game, you just say, that card ability sounds fun. I'll buy that card, and you have it down here. Now you say, okay, well, this card gives me this. So now I'll buy that card that can use that I get from this to give me this, right? And you just start building this engine of whatever you want to do in the game. And then in your turn, you just go, I activate this, which activates this. So I activate this, which gives me this. Now that I have these resources, activate this. And this it's a snowball effect every turn. And it just feels really good. And that's just the cards you have in front of you. Then you have a whole board out there with worker placement spots that are getting you stuff. Oh, and not just that, now you have a whole bag of people that you're pulling out that are getting you stuff. Everything in this game.
Yeah.
There's just so much good design in this game. I want this game to be better known. I feel like it's not talked about a lot yet. Also, totally subjective. Not that really needs to be said, but I also think this is one of my favorite box arts that exists.
This box art looks great.
It's good.
This is one that I would have front facing on my shelf. I love that kind of look. That, like, I was gonna say two-tone, but I guess it's three-tone, really.
Because the red.
Yeah, but that just like beautiful color combination.
Red and white
and black.
and
Yeah,
black.
It's literally just red and black with like the red letters and line or whatever. But I love that look. Always have, and I think this game pulls it off. But yeah, literally. So we even had some production issues with the game where there was some misprints on some pieces and everything, and it just doesn't matter. The game was that good. We just said, hey, just so you know, guys, we got a misprint, so make sure that this doesn't repeat because we don't want this to ruin other people's experiences. Basically, is like what we wanted to say to the developers and everything. So check out Resurgence if you get a chance. It's fantastic.
Because of you guys, I ran over to the 25th Century Games booth and bought this at Gen Con. I haven't played it yet, but I did get Mr. Kodonsky to sign my copy.
Nice.
But I'm dying to play this. Every time you guys talk about it, it's like, I gotta play this game. But it just sounds awesome. It really does. Like, it just sounds like everything that I love, in a game, and it sounds very fulfilling and satisfying. Cannot wait to play it.
I love the pre-planning of the worker placements behind your screen because there's three like basic areas on the board, and so there's three there plus your home base, and so you're like deciding, do I want to put my guys out on the main board, do I want to put them in my home base, and then once everybody's drawn their guys and assigned them, then you reveal and you're trying to do the poll planning that we talked about during Mike's when he mentioned it earlier. So yeah,
The card synergies just feel really good.
it's a good game.
And again, we'll shut up about it after this, but I love that. So when you complete, it's also like contract fulfillment, basically.
Yeah, missions.
Whenever you complete a contract, it slides in this little thing and gives you a permanent production bonus,
Yeah, engine
depending on the type
ability.
of contract
Yeah.
it was. So that's another little, a piece of an engine that you're building. So you just have all these different engines that are all procking at the same time to just always feel good. It's really good.
I think it's definitely my favorite stand game.
Nice.
All right, Mike.
My number 24 is Clans of Caledonia. So this one I only got to play one time last year, and it jumped into my top 20 last year. It was exactly number 20. It fell a couple spots because I still haven't played it since then, but it's just that good. So this game really is very similar to Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, where you're putting buildings out onto the board that are going to give you stuff during income phase. Most of your buildings just give you gold, so you have more flexibility on the type of stuff that you can continue to buy. But some of those buildings give you a resource, and what makes this game have an extra layer of strategy to me is that there is a variable market, and the goods that you're producing, you can manipulate how much they're worth. And I really like how the buying and selling of resources works with the production of the same goods. Like, you can change the price of the goods before you can even produce them. And I've just never seen a game do that. You've also got buildings that can refine your resources to make them a more valuable version of the same resource. It just does everything that I like in games. If you build adjacent to other players, they can get benefits from that. And that variable market just makes this game sing. The economy is excellent. I just really like it. I just got to play it again.
Do you own it?
I do,
Okay.
and it's on BGA.
Oh.
So yeah, I
Okay.
know. So it's got to happen. I got to refresh on the rules so we can start playing on BGA.
I got to
It's really
play the
good.
physical copy, because I'm terrible at learning stuff on BGA. But
Yeah.
it's really good.
It's a computer.
Well, when
The files are inside.
Julia
Yeah.
basically said something like, "Hey, I played Clans of Caledonia. That's one of my favorite games." I'm like, "Let's go." I got a copy
Yeah.
that's been
Yeah,
sitting on
sitting
my
there
shelf, unplayed for years.
Sure.
Finally got it out. They are. It's been a hard to find game. It's out of print. They're reprinting it next year. There is a reprint
Nice.
with an expansion coming, so we should play it before that reprint campaign comes out, Bob. It's if you like
sure.
Gaia or Terra Mystica, I absolutely recommend you check out Clans of Caledonia. It may not be the theme that works for a lot of people because it's a Scottish theme as opposed to
Racist
sci-fi or fantasy.
Right.
Those are the the themes that work for a lot of people. But just don't skip this game because of the theme. It's fantastic.
Sounds terrible. I just don't like stock market stuff, like the manipulation of prices, because like we talked about with bargaining earlier, I suck at it. So that's it though. It sounds good.
I definitely want to check it out. So, because I do enjoy Gaia. I'm not a big fan of Terra Mystica, but yeah,
Well, Gaia is just a better Terra
Right.
Mystica.
which is why I don't like Terra Mystica.
Well, calm down.
There's a better game. All right, that's going to take us down to number 23. Number 23 I have on here is basically thanks to Tim.
Yeah.
He booked these guys at our booth at Gen Con. I got to play their game and I fell in love with it. I went over there the next day and bought a deluxe copy of it, but Lunar Rush. Lunar Rush.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like Lunar Rush.
Nice.
I love the timing of the ships taking resources up to the moon, and you're trying to have all that land so that you can use those resources to build a bunch of outposts and buildings and refining facilities and things like that to put all your goods onto your ship to take back to Earth. And you want to time that just right because as the turns go, the market is going to fluctuate, Mike, and things will be worth more at different points in times at different points in times of the game. And so you want to make sure you're landing so your products are going to get peak price and you're going to get all that money to get more resources to send back to the moon to make even more stuff. And you're just trying to work all that timing. And it was just a ton of fun. And the game is beautiful, dual layer boards, shiny cards, like they really did a good job with the production on that.
I mean, it's tight. It plays fast. It's
Yeah, it
not
plays
that hard
less
to
than an
learn.
hour.
You just have to explain to people the timing of like
Yes.
how this and the importance of that. And I
Right.
think that they can enjoy it.
That's
Yeah.
the best part of the game. Well, I
Yeah.
guess I don't know what timing you're talking about, but I love the fact that 23 is insanely high for this. Or 23.
Yeah.
That's insanely high for this. Good game, but like awesome.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to, it takes X amount of turns to ship to the moon and X amount of
Yeah.
turns to ship back. So like you're like, okay, how many rounds are left in the game?
That is what I'm
I have
referring
to
to.
ship by
Yeah.
now, or I will not get my points in time. Like that's just a fantastic idea. I've never seen that before,
Yeah.
and that's so cool to take shipment time into account for victory point retrieval. It's
Yeah.
just really cool.
I've been finding I really just enjoy that, all those timing mechanisms. You see a lot of that. This can be pretty popular in a lot of themes. Like so today, I've mentioned a few games with all the types of timing and whatnot. But yeah, I really, really do enjoy a lot of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, Dead Alive knocked it out of the park with this one. Not enough people are talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how many best of 2023 lists this game is going to make.
Right.
It's in one. It's in mine.
Yeah.
It's fantastic
For sure.
It's really good for all the things I mentioned about variable market and the timing. It's really good.
Yeah, does a lot of things right.
It does.
It's solid.
I'm telling you, it's just so satisfying when you're like, you go to take a turn on the moon and you have like 2 or 3 ships showing up at the same time, and you're just like, ka-ching! I can do all of these things now. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
All right, my 23. It's the cleanest and best engine builder there is. It's a Wonderful World.
Yay!
Yeah, I was like, oh damn.
I was like, Tim doesn't like good games.
I know, shocking.
And you don't like fun, so it's kind of
Yeah,
weird.
it's really weird because this is good and fun. Everything Dan said, the artwork is great. The timing, like when you play your cards and everything, and like just getting all of those combinations to trigger. I was very quiet while you talked about it, just because I was like, I'm gonna talk about this in a minute. But no, I just love this game. The first time I played it, I was like, holy smokes, this game's incredible. And we played at a very high player count. Everybody was learning it except for maybe Pat and Julia.
That was
And
your first time playing it?
That was my first time playing it.
Nice.
And it just felt good. I mean, just multi-use cards. Like, I'm going to use these cards to buy, to get resources, to buy stuff. Nope, I'm going to save this because that's part of my engine. Like, I want to build up.
Right, the fact that,
Drafting.
because we didn't mention last time, you're right, the fact that you can, so when you're keeping cards, you can keep cards just because you're going to discard them for the resources they give you instead of building them.
Yes.
Right.
And so you're literally looking at your hand and saying, okay, I want to build this card. I only have 3 blue. I need 4 blue, so I'll keep this card as well because when I discard it, I get a blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. We did
God,
mention
it
that.
just feels good. It's so much fun. I always feel like there's something to do on my turn. You know what I mean? Like when you're drafting and everything, like this game just, it's kind of like you guys are talking about Resurgence with like pulling off all these combos and you're just like, yes. Yeah, same thing with like Lunar Rush, right? It's just pulling off these combos and you're getting a ton of resources like all the time. It just flows. And again, it's a beautiful game to look at. I enjoy sort of the snarky sense of humor behind it as well. And yeah, it's a wonderful world. I just love it. I love
This
it.
is a
It's a wonderful
shocker
game.
because you played this for the first time last year, but it did not make your top 50 last year.
It didn't because I think I'd only played it at one time by the time we did the top
Right,
50.
probably
Played it
at
a few
Origins
more
or
times.
whatever.
And and I played it a bunch of times since, and it introduced new people to it, and yeah, just love this game.
I hate to say that other games pushed this one down for me.
Sure.
After Us
Well, then don't
and
say it.
Earth pushed this one further down because I'd rather play those.
Sure. Well, I think After Us will probably be ahead of this. I'm guessing
Next
next
year.
year. But I mean, it didn't have Earth to move.
I just have
so
to make
no problem
you
there.
play It's a Wonderful World a bunch in the next year so that it stays high.
It's
on
on
the list.
Oh, no.
BGA.
Twist-
Let's
twist
go.
my arm, twist
I'll
my
start
arm.
a game tonight,
I
Dan.
saw it. I almost did, honestly.
Down, Mike,
Because
down.
there's a couple of games on there that I want to play, like that I want to play, right? Because we're playing Heat and we're playing all
Sure.
these other games that I don't dislike them, but
Sure.
it wouldn't be the one I would start, right?
Yeah.
But also I just don't want to go through the work of inviting you guys to Arctic Scavengers and stuff. So it's whatever, But yes, It's a Wonderful World is on there and we will check it out. So.
It's a great game. I'm glad I'm not the only one that had it very high on the list.
I like too. We didn't mention the expansion adds negative cards. Too,
Yeah, I haven't
that
played the
you-
expansion.
that you get in your hand. That
Well, I guess I have, but I didn't know I was playing with it. Because
Right.
when we played it, it was
Don't
like we
play
played like
without
8
it.
players.
Most people
yeah,
don't.
I don't have it. I just have the base game. But yeah, negative cards and stuff like that.
my 23 was 23 last year.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ah.
Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
Good game.
Battlestar Galactica, if you've played Unfathomable is just a streamlined, not as interesting Battlestar Galactica. So you know what you're getting yourself into. It's a hidden traitor game where you are basically replaying the first episode of the TV show, not the 3-episode or 3-hour miniseries thing, but the actual first episode of the show. It's called 33 minutes, and that's the entire game. It's just all the Cylons are showing up slowly. Oh my god, they're gonna kill us. We charged our engines. Boom, we go to the next zone.
FTL.
We left us behind. We left them behind. And then, how are they following us? You can't follow through FTL, Bob. This is
No.
impossible. How are they doing this? We must have a tracker on the ship. It's a fantastic.
There's a
It's one of the
traitor
best.
amongst us.
It's one of the best TV shows ever made, and it is the 23rd best board game ever made. And it's just fantastic. It plays a little long, but I just don't mind because every second of the game is interesting. Everyone I've played with has had a good time playing this game, whether they've seen the show or not. I've gotten multiple people to try watching the show after playing the game, and I myself played the game first, and then I was just like, oh, this is cool. I know people love this show. They talk about it a lot. It's probably overhyped. I'll check it out. It's not. It is one of the best things ever made on television. It's
really
fantastic.
good. It's really good.
Gaius Baltar is probably the best acted and written character I've ever seen. And I get it, he's an asshole. I'm not saying he's a good guy, excuse my language. But that doesn't change how good the writing is. His writing and acting is top-notch, 10 out of 10, incredible. And I want people just to see it for that, and then there's all the other good stuff too. So check out Battlestar Galactica if you like hidden trader games. I strongly recommend it. If you can't, because it's very hard to get a hold of and you don't know anyone that has it, play Unfathomable. You'll get the same kind of feeling.
Yep.
Yep.
It's my 41, so
So you hate it.
I hate it.
I love saying that.
All right, my number 23 is going to generate some mixed opinions.
I guess I hate it.
It's Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yeah, good.
All right,
I hate it.
After that excellent dramatic interpretation by Dan on his last pick, I'd like to see your dramatic interpretation of a game of Quacks and Quedlinburg.
Oh, sure. It's I've done this before. It's okay, my turn. A white. Okay, well that kind of sucks. That's cool. White. Okay, what are the odds of that? There's only like 6 in the freaking bag. That's cool. Luckily though, chink chink chink. Oh my god, there's so many in the. Oh, white. Okay. Well, I'm only at 7. That's the safe number. So there's only one more white in here now because I purged up. So that's white. Okay, I guess I won't play this round. That's really fun. I love this game. Do that for X amount of rounds. That's the entire game.
Yeah,
much.
And it's a blast. It is such a blast, especially for Dan because his pot always explodes.
Every time.
You just gotta play with that one witch that makes the pot exploding a good thing.
That's true.
yeah.
this is my
asymmetric
35.
power.
I enjoy this game a
I
bit.
still love Quacks. I mean, it was 14 for me last year. It's still super high for me. I just think it's really fun. I like to push your luck. I like knowing that I've stopped and I can like talk other people. I can trash talk.
Oh, you
them.
can't stop
Come
that.
on, dude. Look, I'm getting the bonus right now.
You
Keep
got like
pulling.
20 things in there. There's only one that's gonna make you explode. Go for it. Oh, you exploded.
Yeah. Quit doing that to Dan. I want him to like the game.
I
And
just
Dan's
love
such
it.
a bad negotiator. He's like,
like,
well, yeah, I guess.
He's right.
I mean, and all the variability and just the base box, there's like 4 different
Yeah.
options for every ingredient. And then you add in even just the witches, and then there's like 4 more options for your ingredients, plus new ingredients to add, plus one-time use abilities that you can add. And there's a bunch of options of those. I haven't even used Alchemist yet. I just love what this game does. It's really easy to get to the table and teach new gamers. They all end up enjoying it. I still love Quacks immensely. It is so fun.
There is some incredible stuff in this game. The difference, the randomization that you're talking about that you can do with the setup and everything is all fantastic. If you get the upgraded components, it's some of the best feeling components you can play with. It literally just all comes down to how bad my luck is in the game that makes me not like it.
Yeah,
I have literally, my pot has exploded in my first 5 tokens more than half of the amount of rounds I've
That's
played in
rough.
this game.
That is rough.
It's just, I have the worst luck possible. And so it just makes you not have fun when you literally can't play, you know? So that's all it is for me. But I'd recommend it to people. It's a good game.
Yeah, I really try not to. Bag builders are such a tactile experience for me that I either want those wood chits or I want the geek up bits or coin capsules around the cardboard. Still feels really good. It's in the bag. That's what I have for my Quack set. I have no complaints over using that set at all.
Good deal.
Yep. Just missed my top 50. But that's gonna bring us down to 22. 22. My 22 is my last new to me in this 10 here.
Nude to you.
Nude to me. Actually have Jonathan kind of to thank for this game being on here because he kept pushing it and we played it and I really enjoyed it. Terracotta Army.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Terracotta Army again has one of those timing wheels. So these wheels are turning opposite directions, and as you're placing your worker on the outside, you're going to work from the inside of the wheel to the outside wheel and get these different actions that you can do. You can go to work with the masters, which gets you like other abilities. You're building actual Terracotta Army that you're putting in this like spatial puzzle that you're trying to solve in the one corner, and it's just I have a lot of fun with it. Just timing that wheel up is just a lot of fun, and trying to having somebody put a terracotta piece into that spatial puzzle and then getting more points off of it than they're able to get off of it is super satisfying, you know. And it's just a really well made game, and it runs a little long, but I have a lot of fun playing this game.
This is very similar to Darwin's Journey for me, right? Where I think this is a fantastic game. I think it's some of the most interesting worker placement in that wheel that I've seen. Trying to line up all those wheels and get the actions that you want in the line to support your other mini games you're doing. You know, with the building of the thing, or the collecting of the resources, or the moving of the red things. I don't know what they're called. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's just the gameplay's a little long, and it's really thinky. This is probably the most AP I've seen in a game, and it can make it to where I'm not in the mood to play it very often. But when I play it, I mean, it's an A of a game. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's going to take you a solid 2 hours to play, but to me it's worth it. I definitely would want to play that 2 hours to do that thinky puzzle and to get all those mini games to kind of like come together.
There's so much that can change between your turns,
Yes.
and even if you're trying to plan, that wheel moves once on the turn before you. There's a whole lot to reconsider.
The wheel moves. Okay, all my actions are different. Oh, the person that moved the wheel moved the red thing. Oh my god, that changed which spot I need to put my guy in now.
Yeah.
Which also changes which zone is being scored this round. It comes around to your turn, and then you have to start thinking about what you're going to do on your turn, which is why I say AP, but really it's not analysis paralysis. It's
you have to wait on your turn.
Forces you to wait to put all the pieces together. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yep. Good time.
Adjacency bonuses based on where you're building your armies.
Love it.
Feels really,
it's not
really
even just
love
adjacency, right? It's like grid-based bonuses.
Yeah.
Well, there's grid based, there's adjacency, and then the end game there's another there's like 3 different types of scoring that you do with that one little puzzle. And you can get points off of everybody else is doing it.
Shut up.
That's Bob's favorite thing. Is he dead? I searched the body. That's what it feels like. I feel like you're just looting off everybody else. All right, my 22. I'll be the only one to have this on the list, and I don't care. Comic Hunters.
Hipster pick.
Listen, this isn't out yet in the United States, but it's coming. Arcane Wonders has the rights. They're going to make it.
Awesome.
I don't know what it's going to look like when it comes to the States, if it'll look the same, if they've got to change some stuff up. But why it is not available or was not available yet in the United States is mostly due to the Marvel IP that is on there, because they're using comic book covers. And in this game, this is just set collection the game. You're just...
Speaking of mini games,
gives you just 4 different ways to build your set.
Draft,
and to draft your cards. And you break down the rounds. You know, you're either like... you're like building a row, like you're going to pick a card and you're going to add it to one of the rows. And then at any time, like when it's your turn, you can choose to take one of the rows, or you can add a card, like you're going to add cards. So you're trying to seed rows to get other people to take those comics so that then you can get the row you want. And then there's even one where you're like shifting around in a grid. And then you can take like all of the comics of like Black Panther,
a certain person,
out of, you know, a row or a column. And then there's like a drafting, you know, where you're passing them around. And I just really enjoy this game. Also, I was a comic book collector. And so there's so many, I know, right? So many of these comics, like it's just like nostalgia too, right?
Sure.
Like, oh, I had this one. I love this one. You know, I remember always wanting this one, but it was so expensive. And then the kind of the fun thing is, when you set up the game, you can randomly pick which comics are going to be more valuable than others. And then there's another fun thing you have to do is at the end of like basically every day, you're figuring out what comics to add to your collection. Well, they all have a cost on them. And so you have to spend the comics, sell the comics out of your collection to then be able to add those comics and lock them into your sets. And so, you know, trying to figure out like, you know, when do I do that? And then those comics kind of can get shuffled back in. You might see them later. It's just really fun. I really enjoy this game. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's very like unique and innovative ways to draft cards.
Yes.
That you've never seen before.
Yes. But yeah, this game is out of Brazil. It's really good. I enjoy it. I love playing it. I got it as a gift for
It's funny because I left off a game of mine that is out in France right now, but not in America, because I was told by Mike not to put games that aren't out this year yet on my list.
It's coming out. It's coming out.
This is coming in January. I asked
Listen,
the guy.
But then we could start using every Kickstarter preview.
No. I know multiple people in the United States that own a copy of this game.
Because you have hipster friends.
Fair.
I actually love this game. I'm very excited to see it come out here. My problem is it's currently massively overpriced and the components kind of suck. And so it coming out with Arcane Wonders means it'll still be massively overpriced. But the
But
components...
it's, and to your point though, Dan, this is like 100%. I'm getting the new version that comes out.
I might, because again, I think that it's a really good game.
it's
I
really
just
fun.
could not justify the previous purchase.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I didn't have to buy it,
right.
which was the great thing. But because I agree with you, I think buying it, anybody that's like, oh, that sounds really awesome, wait.
Right.
Wait,
Don't buy
hold.
it yet. Look and see what Arcane Wonders does with it. And then if that's still your jam, whether it's the exact same thing or they retheme it,
Right.
Wait and see if that's your jam and then make your decision. Don't overpay for it. It's coming. I was lucky. I got one as a Christmas gift last year. And, but yes, I mean, it's sleeved,
Right.
because you've got to take care of it. None of your criticisms are wrong. You are 100% correct. But Arcane Wonders is going to crush it because they
Right.
produce the hell out of games and they make them look great.
Right. My jab was at Foundations of Rome pricing, not Arcane Wonders as a company.
No,
they are very good.
They do great things. Yeah, I love this game. I think it's great, and it was undeniable for me to have on the list. I just like it that much. Yes. I almost left it off the list because it is technically not available in the United States. But guess what? We have international viewers. I'm appealing to them.
Both of you.
Yeah, but
go
now-
get that game.
I was going to say, I'm going to pull up these analytics.
You know who you are.
Now we have to break while Bob switches his 21 to Forges of Ravenshire. So that's
No, that one's
see what
no.
you
That's
did?
not what I'm talking about though, because that one's technically not out in France.
That's
yet.
not out in France.
I
yet.
know it's not. I know it's
Idiot.
Idiot.
You know which one I'm
trying
talking
to give
about
a
now,
shout
though,
out
right?
here.
I have
Not
no
yet.
idea what you're
I
talking
just can't believe you are such a nerd with all your comic book stuff. Anyway, my number 22 is Turing Machine.
Nerd.
Speaking of the French,
Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. This is from Le Scorpion Masque.
about. Hatchet.
I'm not gonna.
Hachette.
Yeah, you know, it's whatever.
Same.
It's half a dozen of what do they say? Anyway, Turing Machine is like math.
The game.
Problem the game. It's so
Good
good.
description.
You are basically no other game has even ever tried to do what this game does. You have little what are those things called? You guys always know because you're old.
Those punch cards?
Yeah, those punch cards. They have a special name. Anyway, they have like these punch cards, and you're basically trying to guess a 3-digit code by there are certain rules laid out on the table, like the first number will be less than the third number, like all these kind of things. And you are basically guessing a 3-digit number, like you're saying, okay, I think it's 461. And you put that into your little punch cards, and you're gonna get check marks or red X's, and you have to solve which questions, like by which question you're asking on the questions on the table, on the rules on the table. You're trying to slowly deduce what your number is, and the first person to guess the number wins the game. That's the whole game. It's one of the greatest things I've ever played. When I played this game, it blew my mind with not only the production, like the work that had to have gone into this. Yeah, I mean, it was probably heavily computer driven, you know, with how all the different punch cards answer the questions and stuff. I highly doubt one person drew up all the plans to do that right. But just what they did with the production of this game and the interesting puzzle you're solving in this game is one of my favorite experiences when I first played this game. I was just like, holy crap, you can do that in gaming. And then not only that, but because of the punch card system, because of the rule system, if you ever are like, there's like, I don't know, I'll say 30 in the rule book, like questions that you can do, which is not only a lot, but also like once you play through all of them in order and you'll forget what the answer to the first one was. Like,
Right.
like you're solving so many numbers and everything. But then even if you somehow have all those memorized, you just go to their website and it can just create new ones because it's just a basic math problem. So the algorithm can just say, okay, well, if you line up these, questions in this order with these punch cards, this is the answer now.
Right.
Incredible. And there's also, I believe, if you go to the website, a co-op version, if I'm remembering.
Oh.
There's some game that uses a QR code that takes you to the website that can turn it into co-op, and I think it's Turing Machine, but I haven't done it, so I don't remember if that's it. But Turing Machine is affordable. It wasn't easy to find for a while for some reason. I think it is
Yeah.
now.
It's easier now.
Yeah.
I've seen it
Pretty
in some
easy.
stores.
That's good. And I highly suggest if you are like a critical thinker or someone who really enjoys math
Deduction.
or like I don't just want to say deduction, because I feel like that's slightly misleading, because it's like math problem solving deduction. It's a very interesting
you got to know
form.
like algebra.
It's
Because you're kind of solving for X, right?
Yeah, hold on. What does the angry eyebrows icon on its side mean?
Angry eyebrow.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very interesting puzzle that I personally love. I do not honestly win very often, and it just doesn't matter to me. I find the puzzle here
Probably
so
playing Levi too much.
Exactly. Levi is very good at this game.
Yeah, I just think it's super unique because you've got this little like thing with these different cards in it, and so you write what you think your number is down. You grab those cards and you line them up, and then sometimes there's holes coming through, sometimes there's not. But then when you ask the question, you take the card that it comes with, you hold it up against there, and you'll see either, like Dan said, check marks or X's. Okay, those are the answers to my questions. I put that card back, and then you're just using that information you're gathering to try to predict what. And like the hardest thing to grasp for me is like you're asking it in relevance of like the number.
Yes.
Like you kind of have to like remove yourself because you're not asking is this a 3? You're asking like how is this in relation to a 3?
Exactly. You're asking questions in relation to the questions on the table, not the
Yes.
specific number you have.
Yes.
So a lot of people get confused, which is totally understandable when they
Yes.
see that check mark the first time and they say, okay, it's a 3. No. All that said was that the 3, which happens to be a triangle, is less than or equal to the square,
Right.
which happens to be a 6 this time, right? Like that's all it means, and you just have to remember that when playing. But yes, check out Turing Machine
It's good.
if you get a
It
chance.
sounds so straightforward and simple.
It is.
As you're, no, it's not a 3. It's just greater than or less than a 3, and it might be
could be
in
a
relation
3.
to the 2. What?
See, you got it.
Yeah, nailed
Tim
it.
gets
And
it.
it's a 15-minute game.
Well,
20.
you can play.
10.
You
It
can play.
depends
in
if you
20
play with
minutes.
pretty
Spencer or
fast.
not.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
well, yeah.
I mean, the 2 times we played it
Pretty quick.
before we reviewed it, it was like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I never played it, but
Quick.
Good.
You played it multiple times.
all
All
right,
right.
Mr. Mike.
All right, my number 22 is Shards of Infinity. This is just my favorite pure deck builder, and it's just a battle royale. You are trying to defeat all the other players. Last man standing wins. I just really like how different the factions feel. One focuses on healing, one focuses on damage, another one focuses on mastery. And you start in your beginner deck with this shard reactor that only does 2 damage at its base. But as you build up your mastery, this shard reactor gets more powerful to the point where if you max out your mastery at 30, it's an insta kill. And so you actually have to really pay attention to people that are ramping up that mastery to try to get that insta kill. You got to do it before they get that thing off. I just really enjoy this game. I definitely prefer it with 3 or less. I think 4 gets a little long. 2 is my definite preferred count.
I prefer 2. Yes.
But 3 is still very good. I just really enjoy this game. I played it like almost 20 times. I think it's fantastic for what it accomplishes in a very small box. It's
art is
excellent.
great. The gameplay is satisfying. The worst part about this game is when you go to buy the expansion, but somebody in your group that doesn't even have the base game already bought the expansion. That's the worst part about this game.
I was about to say, I still don't own this game, and I have an expansion sitting in
I'm
my.
so mad because I was like, it was literally in our game store. And I'm like, I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy that. And then one week I'm like, oh, it's gone. And then Dan's like, later on, apropos of nothing, is like, yeah, I bought the expansion from that here, but I never played it. I'm like, you.
Yeah, it's because I was like, I mean, I'm definitely gonna buy the main game at some point, so I'll just get the expansion now because it's in stock, and I'll buy the main game at some point, and I just never have. So it
It's
just
so
sat
good.
there.
This is
I'll tell you what,
Stoneblade.
$200.
Deal. I'm bad at bargaining too.
It worked the other way.
I'll trade you Mike's Dwellings of Eldervale for it.
I don't know.
Trust me, you could trade that to Bob for about
I've lost
anything.
how many times that's been traded.
So many.
But yeah, this is Stoneblade Entertainment. Justin Gary, who also brought you all the Ascension games. I happen to
know
like
that.
this one more than Ascension. I do really like Ascension Tactics as well. I thought
my
that
God,
one
so
was
good.
great. But I just like what this game does in a fairly quick, simple package. It's great.
I mentioned it in my list not because it was on my list. I do think it's a good game, but I prefer the faction system in ICP. I like it, and it just tends to knock out other faction-based deck builders
Fago-based.
to me.
I think you mean
Fago-based.
Fago-based.
Is that not what I said? But
Great pick.
good game, Shards of Infinity.
It's true. The purple faction, however, is how you're going to do all of your damage, and there's cards in there. Every purple card you draw is an additional 2 damage, and getting those cards is a huge strategy in Shards of Infinity. So there is some faction cards that really are important,
I'll
but
play
the
this game
ICP
now.
factions are very good as well.
All right. So that takes us to 21. Last one of the day. So this game has been all over the place. So a couple years ago, it was down to 14. Last year, it was all the way up to 46. And now it's climbed back up to 21. Huh?
I said finally settled.
Settlers of
We'll see.
Catan.
No. Scythe. I really enjoy Scythe. I'm kind of bummed that my copy is still in limbo, waiting to finish the Rise of Fenrir legacy kind of version of it. But I have gotten to play it a bunch digitally, and so that's probably what's kind of got me back into it. I really want to finish the legacy version of that, but the artwork is beautiful. I love the world that it takes place in, with like the different like diesel punk kind of mechs that you've got. You got your workers and your leaders, and you're just exploring this map. You're doing expeditions and gaining resources and managing that, and territory control. This really unique like action selection, and then you have each faction that breaks one of the rules of the game, and it's super satisfying. It's been around for a while. I'm sure you guys probably know of Scythe, but it's great. So climb back up. Yep.
It's really good. And fun fact, just because no one knows this, there's a video game called Iron Harvest that
Yes.
takes place in the Scythe universe, if you want to check it out, where it's like an RTS, like a Company of Heroes, if you know what that is, but you're playing as the mechs and the soldiers within the Scythe universe. It's just really cool. So
Yeah.
if you love the Scythe universe like we do,
Yeah.
check it out.
There's a lot of cool mechs too. So not even just like, oh, this one, like the one people have, like all the mechs look the same in the board game. In that game, you got a lot of different kinds. There's almost like a paper rock scissors. Like, oh, this mech's good against other mechs. These mechs are good against buildings.
Aerial
These-
units,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's kind of like a paper rock scissors kind of going on with that, and that is a lot of fun.
Who the hell
played a
says
bit.
paper, rock, scissors? What is going on over there?
I've played a bit of Iron Harvest. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I need to look in and see if that's an app on my iPad.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
PC.
Yeah.
I know,
I mean,
I
it's
just-
available on I think iOS, but it's not on iPad. You have to have
Like a
actual,
Mac
actual
version.
Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll look.
Okay. Moving on.
I'll look. I don't believe you.
Sure.
My problem with Scythe is it just feels solvable, and if you're
Variable board.
the learning
Modular.
curve,
Modular board.
the learning curve is just super steep. And I mean that by new players versus players that have played before. I would feel bad for anybody that you taught and sat down and played for the first time, because they would not stand a chance.
That's any game. I
pick my
feel
weakest
like it's
faction.
maybe not. I don't know. I feel like it's maybe not like a learning curve, right? Because I don't think the game's complicated, but it's like a strategy
Yeah,
curve,
I
right?
don't
like,
know what the right term
Right,
is.
me
but,
neither.
But I just feel like
you'll know what you're doing, but you won't know why what he's doing is working.
new players are at a severe disadvantage, and I feel like the first handful of moves, there's right moves and there's wrong moves to make,
Right.
and that has kind of sullied it a little bit for me. Or
And I'm
taken
still in the latter
the
part.
shine
Like I
off
don't
of it.
know how to start a game well. So
but it's a great game though. I mean, and it's weird because I think it's a very important game for the hobby, because it signified this transition, right? I mean, it's the last Stonemaier game that was on Kickstarter, and then because of that, for good and bad reasons, he then went away from Kickstarter. And what was that, like 2016? I just feel like that was like this weird turning point in the hobby, and just kind of set a new bar also with, I mean, the art and the
Yeah.
design and the
Components.
components and everything. I don't know. Scythe is a very important game, like just for multiple reasons.
Has one of those unique things too, where you can trigger the end game and still not win.
Yeah,
Well, that's a great mechanic.
Love it.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm done playing. I'm going to trigger the end of this
It's like,
game.
screw this. But he's winning. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm ending it. No, well, if you put your Switch down while you're playing it, maybe you'd have done better. Okay, so my number 21. Court of the Dead, Mourner's Call. This is one of the most beautiful worker placement territory control games I've ever played. I love the design. Is it Project Raygun
Yes.
that made this game? The art design, the board is beautiful. The rule book could be a little better because it just puts some stuff in some weird spots in like some of those boxes that look
yes.
like they're optional reads, but they're not
They're
optional
not
reads.
optional reads. They're must reads.
Yeah, because they're like almost like little bubbles, and you're like, oh, that's probably
Yeah,
flavor
Tim sees a
text.
box. He's like, I don't need to read that box.
I mean, we've all done it though,
I
where
know.
you dismiss, you
Yeah.
know, stuff, and you're like looking for it, and you're like,
you
oh,
think
it
it's
was
flavor, or you think it's like, you know,
Yeah,
an example you don't quite
or
need.
in a weird order sometimes too, right? Anyways, this game is awesome. The theme is really dark and creepy, and I love it because you're like basically like the
Almost
leaders of
undead.
hell are distracted,
Yeah.
so you're taking over and like maneuvering politically to try to take over while nobody's looking. The minis are great. The board is beautiful. This game just does everything right except for one thing, which is Dan is undefeated in it.
Another game I'm undefeated in.
So now we've listed Dan's #1 and #2 game.
I haven't mentioned them yet, have I?
But this game's just badass, and nobody knows about it. We
Yeah.
talk about it all the time, and
Yeah.
it's because nobody knows about this game.
Yep.
It needs more
And
attention.
it looks intimidating.
It does.
does.
It's
It's-
a game that
You see that big old box.
I bet does not get picked up off shelves very often, and it's too bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or you'll hurt your back. Oh,
Yeah. One thing I would say though is like when I first look at that box, I thought to myself, some assembly required, and so I
Oh,
did
okay.
not pick it up.
Oh.
because it looks very Warhammer.
I was gonna say, I know you think it looks Warhammer.
Yeah, and Warhammer, you got to assemble all your stuff, and and I'm just not a fan of that. Like I know they look great, they paint well, but I don't have the patience and time to sit there and snip and glue and wait and paint and everything.
But not
else.
this one.
No, not this one. This one comes pre-assembled. Yeah.
yeah, this game's awesome.
Yep.
I love this game. It's fallen. It was my number 14 last year, and it's only because I haven't played it.
Right.
And I need to. I just want to get this game to the table. I want Mike to play it. I want to see if he likes it, what
Yep.
he thinks. And I just want to kind of live in that world again for a little bit. Play that
I'd be
game.
You have those
blown
two
away.
tracks on the side you're trying to like
it's
manage
so-
too. Right?
Yeah.
If Mike didn't like it, I'd be blown away. It seems like something he'd like.
We've hyped it up, so I'm a little
That's
worried.
true.
That's
but,
true, too.
But I
It is
do,
the best game ever.
It
made.
can't live up to the hype. Let's just put it that way.
but I think you will look at that game and you're going to spend a lot of time like messing with the components and everything, just because it's really well made and it's
I
beautiful.
played it 3 or 4 times. I think that's enough. I will never play it again. And I will die on my tombstone saying, never lost it. My 21 is locked in.
Oh,
And
locked.
it's Mission Control Critical Orbit.
Nice. Nice.
Third World Studio Games, you knocked out of the park. It's new to the thing, new to the list this year, and it's just an A+ in game design, and not just because I was designing the same game at the same time.
Damn you, Corey and Donnie.
But yes, it is a cooperative asymmetric game where one player is doing a really difficult task that I don't like talking about because I suck at it, and the other 3 people are doing really fun mini games. One person is Bob talked about it. One person is doing Sudoku. One person is doing like a not crossword puzzle, a
Tetris-y kind of
Tetris-y
puzzle.
kind of thing, and one person doing math, as Bob said it. And they're all super fun. I love the communication that goes into the game. I think that this would be one of, if I did a top 10 recommended games, this would be on it now. I think that it is easy to teach, super fun to learn, engaging, cooperative, meaning that only one person has to know the rules in order to actually kind of help people, right? You get a lot of times in competitive games where it's like, well, I need to teach them how to play, but like, also it's literally hurting myself, to touch the, so you almost
Well, that's
wanna,
why
like, sit
Bob
out.
doesn't. Oh, just kidding.
Right. And it's just like, obviously the right thing to do is to tell them the rules, and you will, but like, it is this weird mental thing of like, I'm literally telling them how to beat me, right? And you don't get that in cooperative games when you're teaching. You just say, no, here's kind of what we should do maybe and why, and then you can kind of teach people why they're doing that so that next time they can make the decisions, right? And that's all here now. Obviously, this one is timed.
Yeah,
so-
never overstays its welcome.
Never. 20 minutes, done.
So you can't spend 10 minutes teaching someone what they should, or telling someone what decision they could make on their turn, because you will die. But it's just it's a really fun game, and saying Cologne locked, Mission Control locked is some of the most engaging experiences I've had in a game. I think that just that tiny bit of communication dramatically ups the intensity of this game, of everyone paying attention to who's locked, and then like, you know, Cologne's locked, Cologne gets a star, Cologne unlocked, Cologne locked, right? Like it's so fun to do that.
The brilliance of this game is just by the natural way that it plays. It completely removes the quarterbacking. Like there's no time.
Yeah.
There's no time for it.
Yeah.
Figure your stuff out, make
Figure
a
it
choice,
out, Tim.
and lock. Like, let's go.
Are you locked or not? Oh yeah, I'm done. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, this
Friggin'
game's
dying over here.
awesome. I absolutely love this game. To be fair to us, we liked this game before we became friends with the designers.
This is true.
Well, I didn't.
Well,
I didn't get to play it when you guys did.
get good. Wait, but you got to play it with the designers, and I didn't.
That's true.
The
That's
second
true.
time.
A year later, but
A year later.
made up for it.
Yeah, this is one of those games where this is just like a cool thing being in the our aspect of the industry is sometimes you get to play a game you love and then you kind of get to know some of the people that made it and you're like, oh, these people are awesome. I love these people. But we loved this game before we knew them.
Yep.
And I think, yeah, I'm just excited about this game. It's so much fun. It's so cool.
I can't wait to see. They were talking about the expansion that's going to add more mini games that you can play. You know, like instead of just those 3, you can solve others. I cannot wait.
Oh, it's going to be
so
good.
cool.
It's going to be good.
It's excellent. The booth is still one of my favorite Gen Con experiences.
All time. All
Yep,
time.
it's a blast.
Great pick.
Banglaroo locked.
Yep,
Yep.
Cologne
Houston
locked.
locked.
Corey and Donnie, you guys killed it.
Yep. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
My number 21 is Wingspan.
I'm sorry.
Ooh, you
So
made
yep,
them
I know.
crapping on
I'm
you
the only
today.
one that really appreciates this game. We're going to talk about Stonemaier a bit. You want to talk about games that are important for the hobby? How about a game with a very approachable theme that's pretty easy to teach? And I can't tell you how many times I've taught this to people that they then turn around and bought the game. There's so much replayability with all the stuff you can add from the expansions. Now I get to play it on BGA too. It's a comfort game for me. I've played it so much. I don't have to look at the rules. I don't even need a reminder of how to set the game up. I just put it on the table and I just go. And every action feels good. And I just thoroughly enjoy it. I played it almost 20 times and I'll play it 20 more times and I may still rank it this high. I really enjoy Wingspan.
This is actually a really good game. I
Yeah.
just cooled on it immensely.
Correct.
But it's a really good game. It's a really well designed game, and it is very important for what it has done for the hobby regarding gateway games and getting people interested.
Yep. Exactly what I was going to say.
You know, also worth noting, one of the first games that I can think of by a female designer with
That really blew up like that.
really blew up, and that's awesome. I mean, there should be more of that. I
Right.
mean, but this was warranted. You know,
Yeah.
it stands on its own merits, and
Yeah, I was super into Wingspan. Like when it first came out, I
Same.
played the bejesus out of it. I got
Same.
I upgraded a bunch of my bits. Like I really enjoyed playing it. I just feel like Earth has kind of replaced it because it does a little bit more now. But it's still a great game. Like Tim was saying, like what it did in gatewaying and bringing all these new people into into the hobby, it's fantastic.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why for some people they may enjoy other engine builders more. And I put It's a Wonderful World on my list, and Earth, and After Us, and Deus, another card-based engine builder. But the fact is, I've played this one so much more than those other games that until I get more plays of those other games and I can see how it lives up for me after repeated
And
plays,
I also
it's
had a-
hard to move them in front of this one
Yeah,
for
you're
me.
I had a bad
experience.
convention experience around this game too, which sullied it a bit.
Yeah, it
and it
happens.
makes it harder, right? And it's not the game's fault. The game did nothing wrong.
Right.
Like that was just bad actors, right? But yeah, nope. We pick on you, but it's a solid pick. I mean,
We're obviously in the minority.
It's
It's one of the most beloved games of all time.
it's still in my collection, you know. So
love all the expansion content too.
I
Still
don't think
haven't
I've
even
played with any.
I haven't tried with Asia yet, the newest one. That's the one I'm most eager to try.
I think I have European. Was that the first expansion?
is that the one that has the birds that wet their nest?
Yeah, European.
Right, he's out.
I want the expurgated
No more
version.
Andrew
I can't buy that. It's torn.
Asia for our channel. You really like it?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yep, he's another Wingspan enjoyer.
Yeah, yes.
So is not that David Godfrey.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's got the nesting box and all
Yeah,
that.
he's
I
got
never
all-
did get
everything,
that.
yeah,
but
yeah.
He
all
does.
the extra content they've added to this, it's made it better.
Cool. Okay, so we're gonna rip back through
We're
them
gonna
real quick.
run down our list.
Now we're going to
We're gonna
give thumbs up.
We're gonna thumb them all.
We're gonna thumb them all. One thumb to rule them all.
Well,
all right, here we
okay,
go.
starting with number 30 for me and counting down. Number 30 was Descent: A Journey into Darkness. Number 29, Darwin's Journey. Number 28, Halloween. Number 27, Earth. Number 26, Thunder Road Vendetta.
Open roadage.
Number 25, The Artemis Odyssey. Number 24, Scout. 23, Lunar Rush. 22, The Terracotta Army. And at number 21, Scythe.
Okay.
Which
All
is
right.
skirmishy.
It's just skirmishy.
Okay,
Yeah, it
Tim, I'm
isn't-
looking for a game to put to my
But-
games I would play on
Yeah.
Tim's list.
Okay, yeah.
Very Warhammery.
No.
Well, one of them you should want to play, but
Okay.
you won't. It's not the first one though, so nobody put their thumbs up for the first one because
okay.
it's DC, the deck building game. I don't care.
I haven't played it yet. I'll play it with you.
Thunder Road Vendetta, Growl, Marvel Remix, then Descent: Legends of the Dark, Wildlands, After Us, It's a Wonderful World, Comic Hunters, and Court of the Dead: Mourner's Call. That's the one you should want to play with me, but you won't.
What I'm saying is games I haven't played
Yeah,
yet.
fair.
Right?
Fair.
I was looking for that. Okay, I'm going to open up mine now and say that mine was Marvel Remix, Star Wars: The Deck Building Game, Halloween, My Father's Work, Just One, It's a Wonderful World, Resurgence, Battlestar Galactica, Turing Machine, and Mission Control Critical Orbit.
not bad.
Not a bad.
Not the bad. It's a
Not a
Viking
bad.
over here.
Viking over
A
here.
lot of really good ones on Dan's list there.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
mostly
say.
thumbs up to all that.
Thank you.
Yeah, same. But we had a lot of
I
crossover.
pander.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, really? Is that a new thing for you?
Taking Tim's role, huh?
Oh, dang.
All right. My number 30, Imperial, Marrakesh, Decrypto, Karuba, Chinatown, Role Player, Clans of Caledonia, Quacks of Quedlinburg, Shards of Infinity, Wingspan.
I haven't played many of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually. So mine's super easy on what I want to play on Mike's because it's all the ones I've never even heard of before, like Imperial, Marrakesh,
yeah.
Clans of Caledonia. I've
Say
heard of, but I've
Imperial.
never seen it played. Like I would play any of those. I might not like them, but I would play them. Bob, Artemis Odyssey has
Yeah.
me most interested on yours, and Tim, yours is blank again, mainly because I've played all.
Yeah,
your
we
games.
played.
Yeah.
Most of us played them together.
Yeah.
So I'm gathering from our previous lists, I need to play Marvel Remix.
Yeah.
Because Mike had it, you had it, I still haven't played it yet. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. Like I'm pretty
You got 5
okay.
minutes. I mean, it's literally
Right.
That's what it
All right,
takes.
we're gonna time out right here and come back. No.
You got any others you want to say? for anybody else's
Imperial.
list?
I'm super curious about Imperial.
Yeah,
That's probably number one for me. That's
Yeah.
what I actually wrote down, and then I remembered the other ones.
Imperial and Resurgence.
Yeah.
I don't. I forget what was on. If there was one on your list.
Darwin's Journey.
No.
You were saying.
You spelled hell no wrong.
Terracotta Army. Have you played
Yeah,
that
I
one?
want to play Terracotta Army. My concern is the length.
Yeah,
what she said.
But
Lunar Rush.
Lunar Rush, I have played, but that I'll just say that'll be my pick because I want
There
to
you go.
play. I played. Well, Dan and I kind of played like a few rounds of it
Yes,
at
we
Origins
did
a
it.
few years ago.
Yeah, the year before
Yeah.
we did like when it was still being
Preview
just-
kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was really interested with it, which is why I pushed to try to get a demo of it. In
Right.
our-
And you're like,
our
hey, you
Gen
should
Con
play this.
booth.
You'll like it.
Yeah, I
Nailed
was
it.
right.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah,
You're 23.
That's
right?
pretty damn right.
That's pretty good.
Shut up.
I want to play Artemis Odyssey,
All right.
Wildlands and Court of the Dead, and BSG. I still have not played.
Yeah, we can make it all happen. We can make it all happen.
Guys, what games from our list do you like the most or want to play the most, whichever you think is more interesting? Leave those 4 games down in the comments below if you would. I find that information fascinating. And also it tells me which of my games I need to slowly move higher to keep you
Keep
happy.
pandering.
Finally, somebody's doing that other than me.
All right. All the heavy lifting there.
Guys, if you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, please consider liking, subscribing, doing all those things. Give us a thumbs up. Join our Discord. Hop on our Facebook group. We're doing tons of stuff. Mike and I do a live stream every Wednesday where we have guests on, we do topics, we play games, we get derailed, and we have a few drinks while we're at it. Also, we do have a Patreon, so please consider looking at that if you'd like to financially support the show.
Yeah.
If that's not your bag, even just commenting is awesome, and we really do appreciate the interaction. Positive and negative. I mean, we get all kinds of comments, and honestly,
Yep.
the feedback helps us because
Right.
we have conversations about it. We these changes we need to make.
Yep.
I just learned how to do something the other day on the back end thanks to some people commenting about something they'd like changed. I looked into it and I learned something. I very much like that.
And it was a change we were able to implement,
Right.
and it made sense.
Yeah,
we
makes
all
things better.
agreed with the criticism. So it's really helpful to us, and we really do appreciate it.
Yep.
Anyways, please stick around for the rest of our lists. These games are so much fun to talk about. We obviously are very excited to get into it. So thank you so much for watching. For the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
Mike.
Dan.
We'll see you next time.